gorgeous, and it's just like I wish it wasn't muddled by CGI. Fuck.
So it's not that bad. I mean, it's like I've seen some bad CG, right? I've seen some shit CG before, but the way Ava, it's not that bad. It's really crisp. That bad. I mean, it's a little floaty, like especially in the third and the fourth films, it gets a little bit out there, a little floaty, but it's still pretty good compared to other things I've seen. For example, Berserk. Oh god. That was a horrible amount of CG. Jesus, I couldn't watch it because of how bad it looked.
The new one.
Yeah, fucking 2016 Berserk is just a fucking blight on humanity.
It was pretty bad.
I've never seen an entire
just read the
anime all
manga.
Yeah, just read the manga, and you're doing yourself a service by doing that.
Seeing the whole.
You're doing yourself two services by doing that. One, you're avoiding the anime. Two, you're reading one of the best manga of all time.
Yes.
I have not seen a full anime all the way through, and I live in anime country.
I mean, it's like, no, because like when I was there, you're not exactly over inundated or saturated with it like in your day-to-day life.
Well,
yeah. You have to go out of your way to go to places where it's everywhere.
It's not like you're required to watch an episode of anime to use the train or something. I don't know how they would.
Your social credit score is not good enough. You haven't seen enough anime.
Like when I went to Japan, it's like, I mean, I already knew it wasn't like, oh, it's fucking crazy anime land. No, like you have to really go out of your way to find that shit when you get there.
Yeah.
Also, we're live.
Hello.
I don't know. I forget when we started, but we went live sometime in the middle of that conversation.
Okay.
Something about anime.
Something anime. Yeah, we're live. Hello. It is good to see you all again. I don't know. I need to look away from chat. I'm gonna get.
I don't know what's happening.
I'm gonna get very distracted.
How do we start here?
How do we start?
We usually just talk for a bit. This isn't a very structured podcast. We usually just we talk for a bit. We get distracted. We do tier lists about the body. It's very important.
Tier lists about the body. It's a very ominous thing to say. We do tier lists about the body.
We did, and we did. Actually, the fish. This is a good icebreaker. Which one's more important, the nervous system or the skeletal system?
I would say the nervous system.
Why is everyone dismissing the bones?
I'm not dissing the bones. I'm not dissing the bones. I'm just saying there's animals out there that have a nervous system but no skeletal system.
But they live in environments that facilitate the lack of a skeleton, like in the water, right? If you're like from the stance of a human being, if you're just a pile of meat, that's got to be raw agony. I'd rather not have nerves and have bones.
But then,
what
would you even be?
You wouldn't exist.
That's a good question.
What makes?
I mean, at least I would rather feel nothing than be in constant agony.
Okay, that's fair.
That's yeah, I guess.
Because like all I can think about is the fucking Harry Potter scene where his bones get zapped out of his arm.
I think that I would choose the bones if the nervous system did not also include the brain. The brain is just kind of important. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, okay, when I say I'm kind of omitting the brain from that because like the brain is you need that to like to be, as you said, but
yeah.
Because like otherwise, there's just like there's not a choice to be made because you're not making a choice because you're not a brain.
You won't be alive. You'll just be a sack of cells.
I think for Spy from TF2, the male reproductive system is the most important.
I will stand by that as being the most important system in the human body.
No,
I made the scout
specifically for Spy from TF2.
Yeah,
no one else.
I will not waver.
Segue.
I will not waver.
Thanks, Alan. But yeah, we're here to talk about Spy and a bunch of other things that are TF2 related. Yes. Fish, would you like to like introduce yourself? I know most people in chat probably know who you are, but just for the sake of clarity.
I'm FishStickOnAStick Gaming. I do the Bad Weapon Academy series. I do In Defense of, general weapon reviews. I have weird takes about Sniper and the Scorch Shot and the Kunai that not a lot of people agree with.
That's a pretty comprehensive overlook of Fish as a person.
That's been the last 3 years of my life.
Yep. Absolutely. That's it. Bad Weapon Academy, man. That's him.
Yep.
we are glad to have you on. I guess we'll just get right into it. For people who missed it, in the last video, or in the last episode of the podcast, we covered a video from Fish that we had some things to say. And Fish then had some things to say about the things that we said. We're going to discuss Spy TF2. I'm gonna pull up the video that
and then beat the shit out of each other because that's what everyone wants to see.
Not Alan.
Yes.
Alan has never touched another human being in his life. He's gonna stand there and
he's just been in like a padded cell, a straight jacket.
Yeah, he's just gonna watch us beat the shit out of each other. Okay.
He's the referee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the ref.
I'm gonna pull up Fish's video so I can like go through the video point by point off to the side so I can ask questions.
Let me just take a quick second. I gotta let my cat in here because she's scratching on the door.
No worries.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take an opportunity. Chat, per usual. If you want to ask anyone on the panel a question, you can either donate or use super chat, and we will answer all of those questions at the end of our discussion coverage today. So yeah, super chats, very helpful. Support the podcast; it's very helpful. All right. So yeah, we are going to.
You pay for this man's Christmas ornaments. Look how beautiful they are in the background.
Yeah.
No, those are definitely mine. That was me. All me. Definitely
getting festive.
This definitely is not my mom's like guest room. I think I know a good place to start when he gets back.
Are we doing watch
here?
together?
We're not here.
All right, cool. I think the place I would like to start with the discussion is at the premise of your video, right? At the beginning, at the very beginning, you say something. I don't want to misrepresent you. Something to the effect of when playing optimally, there is no situation. There is almost never a situation in which you would want to play Spy unless you just enjoy playing him.
Right.
Do you stand by that statement now? And if not, would you like to elaborate?
I'm willing to discuss it, but like my take with that is I think that there are lots of situations where Spy is like, totally viable and applicable, but there's situations where other classes can also be just as applicable. Like I think you guys mentioned being around a corner so that like a sniper can't get you, right? I feel like a soldier bombing in could play soldier normally, and then he can also just like bomb in there around the corner, airstrafe, and just take out with a target, probably like a medic or something. Or taking out a sniper, then it's just like you can go scout or sniper and still be able to play the game normally and effectively as these classes, and also be able to take out that high priority target.
I think my thing with that is the idea that if that's the case, right? Something we discussed was the idea that TF2's balance and the way TF2 works is that a bunch of classes are good at a lot of things, but they each have specializations. So in that situation where a bombing soldier, of course there are also situations where a soldier just can't bomb, like in a building, for instance. But
Right.
Even disregarding that soldier has to take the time that he could be spending doing something that he's better at, like crowd control, to bomb that person.
Yeah, take the time, take the damage, launch himself in the air, and deal with the one thing he did see, and Lord knows what else is over there by the time he gets there.
Yeah, so I think that Spy as a class, Spy's purpose almost is to handle individual targets that would be too out of the way for other classes to interact with.
And
I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I don't disagree with that. It's just like I think that's very, very situational, which is like why I would rank him so low among the other classes.
So I think a better way to put what Lucid just said is Spy is the class that lets him see what others cannot, because he's from behind the other team, right? He has an entirely different perspective on who's doing what and can prioritize targets that way, whereas everyone else is taking everything else head on from the front.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. It's just like I just think that is a fairly situational application, right?
I fail to see how it's situational. Once you're behind, you have invaluable information that the rest of your team does not.
Sure, but like, how often are you really putting that information to use as a spy?
Often. Every time I
Really?
play spy, oh, yeah, every time I play spy, if I get behind the enemy team, I know exactly what to prioritize because my team can't see it.
Oh, I thought you were meaning like in terms of communicating with your team.
Oh no, 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 not communication, but spy being able to play an entirely different game because he's getting behind them rather than doing everything face forward, brute force.
Mm.
I think my thing is, and I guess this comes up a lot in your video, from what I recall. A lot of the arguments you make are built upon anecdotally how you seem, how like situations that you interact with a lot when playing. Um, and I think that when discussing balance, and it interests me because I think normally in a lot of your other videos, even like your sniper video, for instance, you don't typically talk about it like anecdotally how you feel personally when playing a class or using a weapon as often as you do in the spy video. For whatever reason, you say a lot of like, when I play spy, this happens to me a lot, and therefore, and then you draw a conclusion. When I think when you're discussing game balance, that's not maybe the smartest approach, because it's incredibly based on the person playing the class. And we like when you would say things like that, we would all just be like, well, when I play spy, that doesn't happen to me, and then we would just kind of be at an impasse where we didn't know what to how else to interact with.
Yeah, like the one that came up a lot was, oh, I get maybe 1 or 2 kills with spy and then die every time I take an action, right?
Mm. See,
that doesn't happen that much with me. I'm just saying.
I get that. It's just like I was kind of. I'll be completely honest. I was kind of under the impression that was like a general spy thing because I've seen other videos of people playing spy talking about that sort of thing, like Lazy Purple in his spy video. He mentions pretty much the exact same thing, and I think he brings it up again in his like demo man making of video, where it's where when he's talking about demo night, he's just like, yeah, I get into the same issue where when I play spy, where I just kind of get 1 kill and then die immediately afterwards. So maybe I was just under the impression that was a more common thing than it really is.
I think it is for people who don't pour a lot of time into spy. I don't know if I would take Lazy Purple's word on anything in this game as gospel.
Okay.
Whereas for me, I have an entirely different perspective because I frequently communicate with it's goofy to say god tier spy main, as well as other ones that I've spoken with before, and it's a completely different perspective and viewpoint on how they engage with the game, even outside of broken unlocks a la Kunai and Diamondback and what have you. And they don't have that perspective. To them, it's like an entirely different thing. They can perform at a much more effective level than, say, your typical Joe Schmo who approaches the game from a more casual aspect.
Right. I mean,
Don't
like
worry,
I
Fish.
do know.
I get 2 kills and die too.
thing is, I feel like that's most. Thing is, get 2 kills and die is the way most people engage with TF2, no matter what class you're playing. That's happening most of the time in your typical game, no matter what you pick.
Maybe, but it's like, I feel like after a certain point, then maybe you should get more than 2 kills and die. Because like you pour enough time into TF2 in general, then you'll start getting more than 2 kills and die. But you do that with spy, and it's just like, nope, you're not done yet.
I think it's entirely situational because you can be a god at this game, and depending on your team and the team you're playing against, you may just get 1 kill, shit the bed, and that's it.
Yeah.
I think that another thing is like, because I'm not good at the game by any stretch of the imagination. I would never claim to be good at the game, and I also, when I play spy is the class I have the 3rd most hours in. Whenever I play spy, I often get killed and die, but the difference between, I would never say that's an issue with the class. I would say that's an issue with me as a player, personally. And
as the kids say, skill issue.
I would
It had to come up. It had to happen.
I would whenever I die as spy, I never feel like, oh, if the class was better, that wouldn't have, well, obviously, objectively, yes, if the class was better, I might not have died, but that's not usually what I feel whenever I die.
I mean, that's just the kunai at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, I also play stock spy because I feel like it's the right thing to do.
It's good. Stock spy is good. More people need to use use stock spy before they move on to unlocks, because it teaches you the fundamentals and the movement and the timing. Yeah.
Yes, but Zesty, have you considered that if you play the Kunai, Diamondback, and Deadringer, you don't need to like think as much?
No,
Have you
I
considered
think
that I just found
with
this
the old Dead Ringer, sure, but the current Dead Ringer is not nearly as oppressive as it used to be.
I would agree. I just
It does make you wonder why all the kunai spies run it then.
Well, because they no longer play spy as his intended role. They brute force him as a tank because it does a percentage of your health, and when you have 210 health to spare, you can just spam the freaking Dead Ringer and just tank and go for another stab and get all your health back anyways.
the Dead Ringer, I think we could probably agree that the Dead Ringer facilitates like a basically a selfish playstyle, almost exclusively selfish playstyle.
If the kunai didn't exist, I disagree. But the fact that kunai exists, I agree.
I think the Dead Ringer, even without the kunai, basically only benefits the spy. It
benefits the spy to do things for his team as well, which isn't.
That's kind of the thing, right? It's just like I would argue in that line of thinking that spy is like a selfish class, because you're getting things done for your team by killing people, sure, but like you're killing people. That's your whole deal of spy.
I mean, I think that boils down to most class interactions. Really, is you're killing people for your team.
Like a selfish, I think, is really only applicable in terms of support capabilities, and spy's only real support capability is sapping, which isn't all that important, I don't think.
Oh, I disagree.
They can also
sapping is a big deal.
The back line as well, which supports the team by making them weak, the enemy weaker.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you good.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, the presence of a spy also sows uneasiness in the enemy team, right? Because they get distracted on what's going on behind them, and that fucks up their front line and makes them squishier for your whole team to push in.
Yeah, on like a psychological level, we just said this in the stream, but spy is the most psychological class out of everyone. Like the disguise kit's effectiveness is almost entirely dependent on how psychologically effective you are against the enemy, because the disguise kit functionally does nothing aside from make you visually different, but that's an entirely psychological difference. It has nothing to do with like the game necessarily.
How well do you role play?
Yeah,
damn it, as soon as I opened my mouth I lost my train of thought.
Oh, it's okay. I guess it just feels like usually whenever I disguise a spy or whenever I play against spies, it's just like everyone spy checks everyone. That's just kind of what's gone down lately. Everyone spy checks everyone, and that makes kind of the psychological aspect of it. Like I guess that is distracting because you're always looking at your teammates, and shooting them and shit. But
people spy check when there's not an active engagement going on with the other team, or I should say it happens far less frequently, right? And if you're getting caught out by spy checking, to me that's an issue of you not taking your time and striking when you're supposed to. Because if you're going at an inopportune moment when your team is not engaging the enemy team, which is when you should go in, then you're more likely to get caught out, because like, what the fuck is this guy doing here, and not helping me engage the enemy team, then they can have that thought of, oh, this guy's probably a spy.
That is probably like a big problem with my spy play style. Is just like I don't take my time to wait for my team to make a distraction, but at the same time, it's just like if I'm not in communication with my team, then I'm not really sure when that's happening until maybe it's too late at that point, even, because like there's plenty of times where it's just like I'm totally ready to make a play, and here we go, and everyone's already dead, and I may as well not.
You just gotta watch. You just gotta watch and wait to see when your team starts to move in, right? And then strike. So as soon as you see the enemy team shooting at something that is not in your direction, that means they're probably engaging with something, and then I
understand that, but it's like there are situations where it's like I'm in a position where I have a great view of the enemy team, but not such a great view of my team. And so like Frontier last, you got that sort of like L curve there, where if you're getting behind the enemy team, then like you can see all of them, you can't see what the fuck your team's doing.
True.
So,
I'm sure you can't see what your team is doing, but if you can see the enemy team shooting a lot, then it's like, oh, they're distracted. Time to go in. If they're all just kind of standing there, not really doing anything, just looking around, then you know that they're not actively engaging something that's going on.
I think that because I would agree, by the way, with the conclusion of your video, or the idea that like spy is a class that needs to be that is very underpowered. I just don't agree with for reference. That's like the basis for my perspective on spy as a class. Sure. I just don't agree with how you got there. I would say that spy's usage is he requires much more. How to explain? In order for spy to be effective, I think there are more variables that you have to account for that are like not things that immediately or that are directly applicable to your movement or your control of the character. So things that are happening outside of your
outside of your control.
Yeah, but I don't think that I think that that's the challenge of being spy and balancing him as a class is that by nature of being a saboteur and being psychological, his impact on others and how others perceive him is very important. But then how on earth do you balance that? Because he's the only class in the game that works that way. All of the other classes are the way you mechanically perform is what matters more so than how everyone else is performing around you.
Maybe a good way of putting it is that you're dependent on factors outside of your control, but you can choose when you are affected by those factors. So you can choose when you're going to go in or when you're going to be disguised and what you're disguised as, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that dependency on things that are outside of your control and most of it coming down to timing doesn't make the class inherently weak. And in my opinion, what makes the class weak is a lot of other shit that spy has to deal with in the form of bugs, janky hit registration, and just a lot of small quality of life things that could be done to just really make him more effective at his intended role.
Yeah, I should have mentioned more of those. Like one of the first comments I got as soon as the video dropped is like, "Oh, I wish you talked about the spawn outlines." It's like, damn it, I really should have talked about those.
I cannot believe
so
they
bad.
added that shit to the game. It's horrible. I hate that crap so much. Ugh.
Yeah.
Why they ever think adding outlines to everyone is a good idea? Oh, there.
I don't know what the hell the deal with that was.
Who's this guy crouching by my spawn? It's not moving. It must be a spy. Guess I'll die.
Yeah, it's
as if like the fucking like the really respawn cams aren't bad enough. I've caught out so many spies just by doing that. Not even with the outlines. It's just like, hey, who's this goober just right outside of spawn? What a weirdo! I haven't even spawned yet.
What was Valve's logic behind adding those outlines? Was it because every other like FPS game at the time was doing it too?
I honestly think that was as a way of combating spy. Which is such a weird thing.
Why would you nerf?
I don't think they put that in there as a means to combat spy. I think they just put it in there because it became an expectation of modern FPS games. Like, oh, we need to know where I need to know where my team is when I spawn. You know,
it could be both of those things.
Maybe like knowing where your team is, I guess, is just like one of those things. Because I guess.
But isn't that what the death cam is for? Like you're the watching your team as you wait to respawn. Isn't that what that's there for? You don't need the outlines.
Ideally, it should be, but I guess with the outlines, it's just like, oh, when I come out of spawn, I can see which way I'm supposed to be walking, which the death cams don't really necessarily do.
I think it's also to help with because I know from experience from trying to get new players into TF2, the map structure can also often be very confusing for people who.
Yeah, I was going to mention that a lot of new people get lost.
So having the spawn outlines shows where your team is, and therefore helps you organically know where the things are.
I disagree because even from the angles at which you're viewing your team through walls, it's not exactly easy. It's like, oh, I know where that is, but how do I get there?
I agree, but I think that probably was the intention. I'm not saying it was good. I'm just saying I think that was why.
Yeah, I still think it's a stupid decision. I'm just trying to rationalize it.
I think Valve just did it because they were trying to copy other games at the time. When did they add outlines? Was it Meet Your Match?
Was it? I don't even remember. I feel like it was like. Was that Gun Metal? I don't even remember.
Meet Your Match would make sense, like because of competitive update and stuff. If that were the motivation.
Let me see.
Chad is saying it was Meet Your Match.
Was it?
Okay.
The hive mind of chat.
Yes.
Dispensing knowledge from above.
Yes.
Oh my god, that fucking update did so much damage. Sorry.
I wasn't playing the
That's
game.
my
when
that's
that
my that's
update
my
came
tender
out.
spot.
I'm so happy.
Meet your match is my fucking trigger word.
It's always been this way. I live with blissful ignorance. For me, TF2 has always been the same.
Oh, you my sweet summer child. If only you knew. If only you knew how good things used to be.
Oh no, things have always been great. La da 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 da.
Yeah.
Wait, the stream. Wait, chat says the stream says that I'm playing Ultra Kill. Hold on, let me
Does it?
let me fix that real quick. Hold on, chat.
What, we're not playing
It does
Ultra
say
Kill right
that.
now?
Why?
I
just refreshed it. It says you're playing Ultra Kill.
Awesome.
Oh, I don't want to play Ultra
Good
Kill.
game. Hey guys, play Ultra Kill.
Guys, if you didn't know already, Ultra Kill is a game that you can play. It came out at some point. Buy it, probably. Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2. I have my microphone affixed to my bed frame.
Hell yeah, dude.
So I can't move or else everything falls apart.
Gotta love gorilla streaming.
Yeah. I'm so tired.
So Fish, something. Can I segue us into a slightly different topic?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Sure, go for it.
Fish, in your video, you talk about the front line. One of the ways that Spy can interact with the back line rather is that he goes back and he kills someone in the back line who's not doing anything, or they picked a power class and you kill him out on his way out of spawn.
Mm-hmm.
In I think our sort of perspective on that was that the front line, well, the line in general is a lot thinner than we thought that you thought it was, and that picking in the back line was a lot closer to the front line and more in the fight than you portrayed it as. But sort of, I guess, what's your perspective on what the lines in TF2 look like? And
I guess I would say, like, obviously it shifts a lot, especially in game modes like the 5CP and payload and shit. Like, payload especially, I would say is super. It's a very elastic line. I usually just determine it as just like where are the most people at a given point. It's just like where's everyone bundling up together.
I think it's
like that's where I would say that the front line is.
I think might be a little bit more complicated.
I would probably agree with that. It's just like
I understand.
I haven't had a lot of time to think about it.
Because like
and the point that I added to that whole thing was, the front line to me is this very thin thing, right? It's not a straight line, of course, because of map geometry. Things are going to be warping and bending. But for the most part, when you're having an engagement, it's a very narrow area of contact because, again, the game is a close quarters combat game, except for sniper. And when that is happening, when that front line is being engaged, that's when the spy can move in instead of hanging so far back and picking off stragglers or people who aren't engaging with it. In my opinion, that's when you shouldn't be engaging people as the spy because they're not distracted. That's not when you're supposed to go in. Because not only that, they're not being effective. It's not picking off a key target. They're just there, right? Unless you got to top off your health with the kunai, then by all means, go for it. But
I guess my issue with that would be there's lots of time in which you just kind of aren't supposed to be doing anything at all as spy.
I think that's okay. I think that's just the nature of how the class functions.
That can be okay, but I feel like...
I mean, the same can be said for engineer. You're just building shit.
Sure. But at least, like, the very action of having your shit there is accomplishing something. I mean, hell, even just having a dispenser there, that's doing something for your team. Having a teleporter there, that's doing something for your team, even if you're not really doing anything yourself. With Spy, you're not doing anything in the hopes that you will get to do something. And that's just...
Yeah.
I think... Oh, sorry.
So maybe... So that's kind of something maybe we can agree on, is that in the last podcast we talked a lot. I think like halfway through your video you show a clip of like it's not Bond or anyway, he's got like the laser watch and you're like, Spy could have so many like thematic things that he could use to do cool things for his team. So last time we kind of talked about while you're in the backline, if you could be setting up like spy devices somehow that make it so that you can get into the backline easier, or you can like sabotage their backline in between lives so you don't lose all of your progress the instant you die as spy. So you can like build up something in the backline while you're waiting for the opportunity, and then you can feel like you're doing something actively as well.
Yeah, I'd be totally down with that.
And I guess in that vein, also, do you have any ideas for that kind of thing?
I unfortunately do not, but I feel like I'm really bad at coming up with weapon concepts. Like I get a question a lot about like, oh, what weapons would you come up with for TF2? And I got like nothing for that.
See, I think in this case, it's of no fault of your own, because then that goes back to like the difficulty of balancing a saboteur class, right? And having new tools in his kit that would fit that role, instead of it just being like a slightly different balanced knife or a slightly different balanced revolver, coming up with an entirely new mechanic that is based on psychological warfare, in essence, is very hard to do in a game that is heavily dependent on snappy, quick readability, right? And ideally, when it comes to preserving the nature of the gameplay, you don't want to fuck with people too much. And so maybe that's why Valve never really leaned too far into things that would fuck with readability, right? Because think about this for a moment. When you have something like the Dead Ringer, right, which is conceptually not that complex, right? It's a very simple thing. You can fake your death. But in TF2, it's very important to know when you've killed someone. And 99.99% of the time, the game tells you this person is dead. To then be told, uh-oh, he's not actually dead, surprise, do it again, that fucks with you, right? And that doesn't feel good to play against.
Terrible.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good to play against. So when you're introducing confusion or mixing people up into the gameplay, you have to do it in such a way where players don't feel robbed or players don't get confused, right? So that's a really hard thing to do, and like it's of no fault of your own, and I can't think of any good ideas either for a new tool for Spy to have, right?
But at the same time, that's not our job. That's Valve's job.
No, yeah, we're not game designers, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's the kind of thing that could make Spy a lot more active while you're just
like
kind of playing passively, waiting for the opportunity to strike.
Sorry, Crow. Best thing they could do for Spy is enable friendly fire.
I mean, unironically though, like I used to play on this friendly fire enabled server like way back in the day. And Spy was actually a lot more powerful because you couldn't spy check people without hurting your own teammates. The only one that could do that was Pyro.
Pyro just kills his whole team.
Actually, Pyro.
No, because by nature of a friendly fire in TF2, flames don't hurt your teammates.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting, huh? We didn't even think about that. We were
I
thinking.
really missed that server. It was a lot of fun.
We were thinking of when we were coming up with, because we got to the part where we were talking about like different changes for Spy, and we were brainstorming weapon ideas, and one of the ideas that we came up with was like a gun that fires like fake bullets, like rubber bullets, and they like do a small amount of knockback to you, but they like hit your team, so you could do like fake I forget exactly how we had it, but you could better disguise and do like fake fire on people.
I mean, I think that just goes back to something else Fish mentioned, is like you should just be allowed to hit reload or reload and like fake an animation to make it look like you're on the enemy team.
We agreed wholeheartedly, for the record.
Especially
I don't know if you got there. We agreed wholeheartedly when you got to like whenever you mentioned like a technical problem or something that was like a quality of life improvement, we were like, yes, please.
Yeah, 'cause it's like a no-brainer.
Fix it.
Yeah. Well, like that's the easiest thing to be right about, because like how do you fuck that up? Also, while we're on the subject of this, my moderator for my for my rebalance server just messaged me that we did come up with a sort of something for the Spy to do while he's on the back lines, and that's we had a Spy radar.
Yeah,
so
radar.
like you click the button on the snapper, and it just like shows the outlines of the entire enemy team to your team at once.
Such a horrible idea. I hate that shit. We talked about that too.
Really?
It's an awful idea.
I think it could be. I think that we came to the conclusion that there is something that you could do, but that the idea we don't really like wall hacks. and
giving your entire team walls would basically make it a must run for both teams.
So does it reveal? It reveals enemies in a small radius, or
yeah.
Even then, that's so powerful because you can just throw it down and like in the meat of where they are, and
it lasts for a couple seconds, and it doesn't last like a super long time, but it lasts enough time to like give your team just like enough information to be like, okay, there's this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy here, so now we can like plan accordingly.
I kind of like it.
I
if
think
it's a super small duration, like for like a second, and you can go, oh, there's a sentry there. Now I know this when I didn't know this before. Technically, that's what Spy should be doing anyways if he was using voice communication.
Yeah.
If it lasted too long, that would be just raw AIDS and not good.
For context,
I want to say it lasts a couple seconds and it's got a decently long cooldown, and it also reveals the spy's location to the enemy team.
Yeah, because when we saw your description, there wasn't like a mention of the duration. So as far as we knew, when that activated, it was like we didn't know how long it lasted, so we were just
that's fair enough.
Yeah, we were going through the possibilities.
No,
like,
it's not infinite.
You're like,
okay, that makes it.
Yeah,
that makes it a lot better.
That makes it a whole lot. That makes it a whole lot better because we. Oh
yeah,
man,
it lasts a couple seconds. No need to worry.
No, yeah, thank you. That was like.
It's an interesting addition. I am curious how that plays out.
I was gonna say earlier when we were talking about Fish, if you had a class, if we replace the spy, or let's say we add another class to the game, God forbid, and like the class's entire thing is that he sets traps, like that's what he does. I don't know what the aesthetics of it, but the class's purpose is to set traps, right? And the class doesn't even have offensive weapons. His entire thing is he plays defense. He sets traps and he waits for those people to get into traps. Maybe he has ways of luring them there, but without psychologically or something. But would you be okay with that? Do you think that could work? Because like the reason why I'm asking is that would be an example of a class where the entire purpose is to basically wait for the right time to strike, and you're setting up timing so that you can strike accordingly.
I mean, obviously that's super dependent on a lot of factors. Like, I would say like engineer and demo man almost kind of fall into the same category with like obviously the sentry and the sticky traps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think you would need at least some kind of way to like defend, like even the spy's revolver, right, would be, I think, somewhat fitting on this class. It is a stupid example, but there is this game that is kind of like TF2, but it's like humans versus dinosaurs, called Primal Carnage, and there is a human character in that game that is actually very similar to that. He is based entirely around setting traps for the dinosaurs.
Interesting. Okay.
And he's got like twin revolvers as his sort of backup, like his backup means of dealing damage. They're not really meant for combat. He's entirely based around the traps. I think I actually really liked that character in like the 5 minutes I played that game.
Holy shit, that is a name I haven't heard in a minute, by the way. Primal Carnage.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Unearthing literal dinosaurs.
See, personally, when it comes to the idea of adding a class that's entirely oriented around traps, I don't think that's a good idea for Team Fortress 2, because the game is strongly centered on player versus player interactions, and then when you have someone that just throws a bunch of traps around, it detracts from that, because now players are seeking out these traps to not get fucked over by, and they're pulled out of the PvP engagement. When you have something like
walking on eggshells the whole time,
that too, and when it goes to something like a sentry gun, right, a lot of action plays around where an engineer is set up. So it's not so far removed from PvP engagement, because other players are there typically in front of the gun, and the sentry is providing supplemental damage, and also the engineer is typically nearby. And then when it comes to the demo man, same thing. He's typically centered around other players, and you can focus him, and that will also clear out his traps.
And that's sometimes the traps manually.
Yeah, and the traps. So, the demo man has to have the thought of like, okay, now I have to detonate this, otherwise they're useless.
So so the reason why I asked this question was I was trying to come up with an idea for, because it was earlier. Fish said that one of the issues with Spy is that he spends a lot of time not doing something.
At least ideally,
and
just based on what you guys are saying.
Yeah, and Zesty said that he thinks that's fine, and I was trying to come up with a class where that was the entire point, like there was nothing else you could do, and the trapper was what I came up with, but I was more just asking, like, do you think that it's an inherently bad thing or like an inherently unbalanced or even bad game design to have a character who is very timing based and doesn't have to be acting all the time in order to be effective?
That's not necessarily an issue with like game design or even balance, I don't think. I think it just comes down to like it feels very weird in TF2 where everyone else can just kind of like, for the most part, kind of hold W and be good to go, except like maybe engineer and sniper who have to hang back a bit. But even then, like the fact that those two are area denial characters, I think is just like their mere presence, just standing there, is accomplishing something. compared to Spy, who is just like he's standing there menacingly, but whether he actually ends up being able to do something or not is not completely up to it's not set in stone. You know what I mean?
Well, I think our thing was that I think that our thing was like when Spy's existence means that the team is now distracted, more so than they would be if Spy weren't there. Like, imagine how different TF2 would be from how different people would play TF2 if Spy didn't exist. Like, people would like everyone's a bunch of priorities change for a bunch of different classes. And I think that the very fact that that is true means that Spy has a significant impact on people just from his presence alone, in the same way that Engineer and Sniper do.
Exactly, yeah. And I think a lot of that plays on the fact that we give TF2 players too much credit. To be honest, the short-term memory of your average TF2 player, I would say most people's short-term memory in this game is very, very brief. Because it's not that they forgot the Spy is there, it's that they're very quickly reoccupied by something else that is not the Spy, right? They know a Spy is there, but oh no, sorry, there's an Ubered scout in front of me now. This is what I have to deal with at the moment. And that's where Spy fits in, right? I'll go back again to say, I think it's totally fine that Spy needs to wait a long time because he exploits the short-term nature of everything in the game, his own presence and everyone else's. And then that's when he goes in, when it's not his own presence occupying their time.
Right. I think an issue I would have with that is that, like, outside of the Cloak and Dagger, Spy doesn't have a whole heck of a lot in order to really facilitate a sort of waiting around play style. Because, like, if he's just hanging around and not doing anything, but he's not cloaked, then he's probably going to get caught out by someone.
And then I think that goes to people not being aggressive enough. I think people need to take more opportunities and play and get a little bit riskier, because I find that a lot of newer Spy players are very hesitant to move in on situations where they could have very easily excelled and gotten 1, 2, 3, 4 kills, right? When you're given something like the Cloak and Dagger and the L'Étranger, it's very tempting to just hang back and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. But the frequency at which those distractions happens inside of your typical game is really high. And as I'm beginning to play Spy more, I'm finding that I can really push just how often I can just uncloak behind the entire team, 2 inches from them, and get 3 people and get out alive, right? I think the waiting game is a bigger problem for a lot of newer players, whereas people who are more seasoned and experienced and have a better idea, have a lot more game sense as to, like, when people are actually engaged, then they can really exploit more opportunities in those short-term instances of, enemy player distraction, and then boom, go in.
I think that there's also the issue of people perceiving Spy differently than maybe he was intended to be because of, like, montages and stuff. Because, like, the Cloak and Dagger
That's the fucking kunai!
The Cloak and Dagger is
it's all the kunai. That's all they ever use in those fucking montages.
Well, because like, what Zesty just described is, like, what the Cloak and Dagger was meant for, was the idea that you'd, like, wait in a place, you wait for the exact time to strike, you get 3 people and you're able to get out, as opposed to, oh no, I'm running out of cloak, I am now forced to go in, because if I don't, I will be caught out in a bad situation and die. I get 1 person or 2 people, and I maybe or maybe not don't get out alive.
And that's okay.
Which I'm sure ended up happening to me a lot in the video.
Yeah,
and honestly, I think that's okay, because that's what keeps the Spy balanced. If he had a shitload of cloak and he could move with it, I mean, that's why the Cloak and Dagger is balanced the way it is, then he'd be really strong, right? That's why everyone uses the L'Étranger and the stock and Bizwatch, because of just how fucking good that is, right?
Yeah.
Also, Lucid, your chat is frozen on your YouTube screen.
Yeah, I fixed it. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Thank you so much. But yeah, I guess we could use this as a neat little transition into super knife discussion.
Yeah.
For just so we can catch everyone up, in Fish's video, and Fish, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Fish says something to the effect of, in order for Spy to keep up with the other offensive classes in the game, he almost needs to have the abilities that all of his other knives have in one, as part of his base kit. We all 3 vehemently disagreed with that idea. because we think it would make him entirely unbalanced, and also in way too. It decentralizes him from his role, which I think was our main criticism. Actually,
it would just make him a demo knight effectively,
yeah,
and without having to time a charge.
Yeah, it no longer makes him a saboteur. It makes him as like an offensive, primarily offensive class.
No, I agree with that. Actually, it's just I probably should have clarified that would be a bad thing.
Oh yeah,
I probably should have clarified that. That's my mistake in my script writing. I mean, I kind of alluded to it at the end, where it's just like, hey, if Spy was really, really good and on the level of these other classes, then that'd be the fucking worst.
Yeah, because we all understood that you were like, yeah, this is what they should do.
No,
Yeah.
no.
It was hard. It was hard to pick up on the fact you're being facetious.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't so heavily implied. Like, oh yeah, this probably isn't a good idea.
No, because I don't think that Spy should be on the same level as like the other offensive classes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. No, that's my bad. I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. It's just,
no, but I do think I do think the point you were trying to make there is still incredibly valid. In that Spy definitely needs a little something to just to. But again, this goes back to just fixing all the bugs and like little quality of life things that would make him just exactly where he needs to be, and not like improving or giving him additional abilities so he can do his job better.
My first stream after I uploaded the Spy video, I ended up catching out a Spy because he was like a pyro with no head, or a demo with no legs, and it was just like, damn it.
Yeah,
wish I got that clip.
So
I wish I got that clip while I was making the Spy video. That would have been perfect for it.
Yeah, that is just an obvious no-brainer of like, please fix these things. Valve, it genuinely detracts from gameplay. It shouldn't happen. Yeah.
I just want to point out someone in chat. Go Eat a Towel in chat said there was a demonstration video on Karma Charge's channel, RIP to a real one, about an Invis watch that allowed you to walk through people at the cost of a huge chunk of cloak. I just wanted everyone's thoughts on that because I thought it was interesting.
I see no problem with it, but at the same time, how would it be useful? I have to think about that.
It would be easier to escape.
I think it would be useful just because, like,
it would be
personally, I get into a lot of situations where it's just like I'm walking around a corner, I have no idea if anyone's gonna be there, and then I accidentally bump into them. It's just like, well, shit, there goes that.
Yeah,
I
like
respawn.
Yeah, but then if it heats up, maybe it could help. It would greatly depend on how much cloak it consumes, because if it's still enough time left after you get that collision, because like if you're left with like a sliver of cloak, you might as well have just been found out anyways, because you have to immediately decloak afterwards.
Ooh, there's
but
also
if it's still enough left behind that you can still get away and then run out of cloak, then perhaps it's useful.
There's
but it could also, you're at risk of it being overpowered. Then it's kind of
that would be tricky. That would merit a lot of testing to see how strong or weak it would be.
Yeah,
that might be incredibly useful in situations where there's a lot of enemies in a tight space, and if you could just go through them.
Again, that's really dependent on how much it drains.
If it's not per enemy hit, if it drains like half of your cloak, and then you have like 3 seconds of I can walk through people, that could maybe work.
Yeah,
or maybe it's like 3 times faster cloak drain when colliding with players. Yeah, you just go through it a lot more quickly. Like you can still replenish it, but it gets chewed up way faster, like faster than cloak and dagger amounts if you're like colliding with somebody.
Could be interesting.
Instead of
it
like
would require a lot of tweaking, but it could work.
Yeah,
maybe, but then it would need I think it would need like an additional downside tacked on.
I was thinking the same thing actually.
It would need something else.
It's hard to think of an additional downside. It's outside of just like more or like less cloak duration on top of that. Because the watches are so like one-dimensional.
Yeah, it would have to be. I hate taking away max health from Spy because he's already so fucking squishy. I don't know. It would need more thought on it.
Yeah. I have a kind of a slightly unrelated question. Just
wait. If you uncloak while inside someone, it should telefrag them. I just wanted to.
Okay, that'd be funny.
Oh god.
I like this idea, but only if it also kills you.
Yeah,
I think that would be balanced.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
That would cause some weird physics shit.
That would be great, because that's literally like we joke about. It's like, oh, you kill someone and you instantly die. That's just literally a suicide, like a kamikaze kill for spy, which is kind of
It's
amazing.
just a more consistent version of that. That'd
Yeah.
be hilarious.
Just play Caber Knight, you know? Just do that instead.
No, the Caber's bad.
No, Caber
That's
Knight's
why
fun.
I said Caber Knight, and even Caber Knight sucks. Is bad because of how heavily they nerfed the damn thing. But
It's so sad. As someone who never used the original one, I'm so sad.
So
As someone who
sorry
main
you
sniper,
never
it should one-shot light
experienced it.
classes again.
Yes.
oh man,
At the
I
very
miss the
least.
days.
Let the damn thing one-shot light classes again. Give me a fucking break.
No, I think the
At the
damage
very
is
least.
fine. I think the damage just get rid of the freaking deploy speed and swing speed. They're so bad. God.
I still think it should one-shot light class. Let it be a sniper terrorizer again. That's what 90% of people use it for, just jumping over on 2-4.
Yeah, but then competitive players complain, oh, I
was
can
gonna
sticky
say-
jump into a medic and one tap away. Shoot.
I don't think it should one-shot medics. I think snipers is fine.
Yeah,
But-
make it do 130.
125.
yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I think.
Make it do 130.
I don't know why that wasn't the solution. It seems like the obvious.
I think it kind of was. It's just like the
They
way
went
the
too far.
explosion spawns on the Caber is super weird.
Mm.
Because like I did some testing with this, and if you hit someone's like feet with the Caber, then it'll do like a proper 125, like actually one-shot light classes. But if you hit them like a person would, then for some reason it is like 119 or
Oh,
something.
because there's fall off. There's fall off on the explosion like there is of
That's
any
what
other
it is.
explosion.
It's the
Yeah.
fucking explosion fall off.
There's a radius to it.
Yeah.
And the character's center is the feet, maybe.
Well, no, when you're crouching, your hitbox is closer to theirs, and so
Yeah,
you're closer
that's
to
what
the
it
center of the explosion, and it does max damage.
Oh yeah, that's why people always. Yeah.
Maybe they should just get rid of the explosion fall off on the Caber, and that'll fix it.
God, that'd be really strong. It just does a 125 everywhere in a ball. I don't know about
Yeah, that'd be
that one.
awesome though.
It would be really funny.
That's worth using your melee only once in a life.
I mean, the solution is just ticking up the damage a little bit so you don't get screwed out of a one tap.
Yeah, but it'd be funny.
It would be fun, yeah.
Gosh, I would love. I would love it if Spy had a Caber equivalent.
like a fucking stick of dynamite,
Just-
blow up.
It's like in Fallout when you reverse pickpocket a grenade into someone's pants.
Wait a second. Actually, wait. No, having a knife that explodes, but it like does area of effect damage but kills the spy might be amazing. That might be great.
What if it like did a bunch of damage to the spy, but it let you rocket jump basically?
Man, this makes me sad because man, I want this to exist now. I'm sad. I would love to
It's
play
out there. It has to be. There's so
has
many
to.
wacky custom weapons mods people have done. It has to exist.
dynamite knife.
I think I saw something like. Actually, no, it was like
Someone chat needs to make that happen.
God, I don't even remember. There's something about an explosive spy backstabby thing.
There's like
I've seen something like that.
There's like 200 people watching. At least one of them can make a custom weapon. Come on, you guys can do it. I believe in you.
What? Someone can do it.
Someone can do it. Also, this is kind of tangentially related to something Fish said in his video. Fish, are you of the opinion that like every class should have an alternative playstyle of some kind?
I think only if it fits within TF2. I don't think every class needs a subclass for the sake of having a subclass. Like Scout doesn't really have a subclass, and he's totally fine. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree. We don't need subclasses which effectively act as entirely new classes. It just complicates things.
Yeah.
In an already overly complicated game than what it should be, in my opinion.
I'm only asking this because you never said anything that alluded to this. You just you said you talked about like spies kind of one dimensional, in a sense. And I don't think that I would consider that to be a problem as long as the one dimension he has a lot of depth to it. But it's more the idea. I guess I just wanted to ask because a lot of people throw around the idea that like, oh,
every class needs a subclass.
Heavy needs an alternative playstyle. We need to give him an alternative playstyle. That's what he needs.
We need to make the Buffalo Steak super viable, like on the same level of viability as the miniguns.
Give Heavy a riot shield. I want Heavy to have a riot shield. Oh, Reddit Chungus 420 updates, please. Hate that shit.
If anyone should have a riot shield that's demo, it would fit his character. Not to mention that whole riot thing.
It would just be like an offshoot of his normal, like a charge. I don't fucking know.
I would love.
I don't know, like
reskin.
Just a new shield, but it's a riot shield.
Yeah.
Instead of like a wheel on his arm.
Make him Brigitte from Overwatch. That's
He's got that riot helmet with the lock and load and the caber set.
The UI just changes. The UI, like you just become Overwatch. That's what happens when you.
The existence of Demo Knight has plagued some players or poisoned some players' minds into thinking we need drastically alternative ways of playing each class. I think slight deviations are okay, like let's say Engineer's mini sentries, but I think that is as far as it should go.
Yeah,
like, you shouldn't be doing complete redesigns on how a class should behave. Like Demo Man goes from the projectile explosive area denial class to a belligerent melee only juggernaut. Like we don't need such wild deviations for each class, you know?
Especially because there's like a real risk of just overlap on where one class already specializes in an area. Like I would say Demo Knight honestly kind of gets into that area with Spy a little bit. Because like I think I might have said
this. I agree.
Just like melee focused, crit focused. It's just that Demo Knight, I would say, is a lot safer and to a degree more consistent, not counting melee jank bullshit. Because, hey, you don't have to deal with 180-degree weirdness. You click on someone and you do 195 damage to them.
Yeah.
To an extent, I agree. It does step on Spy's toes a little bit.
Yeah. It also steps on Pyro's toes because you just walk forward and hold WM1.
God. I mean, well, at least with Demo Knight, you don't have a gun. So, I mean, it's not like he's exactly... I would still consider Demo Knight an infinitely weaker Spy because he lacks all the tools that Spy has, right? Demo Knight relies entirely on the enemy team being bad, because if you're the only guy in a game, if you're the only guy in a gun game without a gun, that's a really serious disadvantage, right?
Yeah,
and then all you need to do is shoot him, then not that hard to do, right?
I
unless you use the Islander.
Yeah. The Islander is a can of worms. I think the Islander is like the only exception to that, because the Islander's snowballing is really, really strong.
It's fucking insane.
It needs to be toned down something fierce.
Yeah.
There's this guy. He was like an Uncletopia terrorizer, and he used to play on streams with me. His name was Beepus. He was a nightmare to play against because he would just use the Islander, and he'd have like 10 heads and he would not die. He would have like 30 kill streak. It would be ridiculous.
Yeah, because all you have to do is die. Yeah, all you have to do is farm the same 3 shit players on the enemy team, get 5 heads, and now you move faster than a scout, have over 350 effective health against 2 damage types. You cannot die.
Yeah.
It's great. I love the Islander so much.
Yeah. I'm going to take a small break to grab a drink. When I get back, do you guys want to talk about like the sniper main comments? Because we got a lot.
Yes.
We have a lot of those to get through.
I feel like a sniper discussion will get fucking rough.
This is gonna go places.
But yeah, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna bait engagement by saying we'll get to that when I get back. Talk about something.
I'll ask his chat. How is the chat doing this evening or morning, wherever you are in the world? We'll see how they respond. We can also see how bad the stream delay is. Pretty bad.
Yeah, wow.
That's a really long delay. Oh, there it goes.
There it is.
There it goes. Someone just types 666 in chat. Okay.
Oh my god.
2 p.m. Where are you in the world? You're in like in Hawaii?
I was gonna guess Hawaii, actually.
Probably Hawaii, yeah. Midterms tomorrow. Oh man. Oh yeah, that's right. It's the end of the semester for a lot of people. I do not miss that shit. I do not miss college.
Ate an entire Toblerone. Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh fuck! How do you not like throwing up? That's so much sugar. It's so big too. It's like a brick.
Big triangular brick.
And it's like I don't like Toblerones. They're like a chore to eat. You know, these big like it's like a fucking like dentist stick for a dog. You seen those things, right?
Yeah.
You have to get like a mallet to break it apart. You're just chomping on these big charred chunks. I mean, it tastes great, but it's I don't know.
It's a dentist stick that kills the dog.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't like Toblerone. I like the little itty bitty ones, like the little minis. Those are good. I can tolerate that, but not like the baseball bat Toblerone. You know.
I will admit to having an absurd sweet tooth, and like I'm the kind of guy that when someone is just like, "Ooh, this is too sweet for me," they pass it right over to me.
Oh, dude, do you like marzipan?
Marzipan? I don't even think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, it's almond candy. Like, have you seen those? Like, is it like they're called Ritter Sport Bars? Like, it's like a square bar with chocolate covered marzipan.
I have not heard of those before.
If you like sweet shit, you'll like marzipan. It's really good. Here, I'll find it. I'll put a picture of it in the chat.
Okay.
Sport marzipan. Where are you? Yeah, this is probably my favorite candy bar on the planet, easily. Let me save this shit. Yeah, here we go. This shit. Oh man, they're expensive, but it's really good.
I have not seen those before.
Oh, dude, they have a bunch of different. They got a bunch of different flavors. They have like cornflakes ones. They got hazelnut and dark chocolate, and they got a bunch of flavors. The marzipan one, if you like, if you like the taste of almond extract, then and it's really sweet and it's kind of gritty, almost like coconut, you'll like this. It's very good.
I feel like I can see the grittiness just in that picture of it. So I can feel the texture of it in my mouth.
Oh, it's more like a paste, but it's very good.
Can we
Really?
clip
Yeah,
that out of
tasty.
context, please, chat? Thank you.
More like a paste that's really good.
Yeah,
It's
more
not
like
a
a paste.
drink.
It's really
More like
good.
a drink.
Yeah.
You guys are making chat hungry. Why are you doing this?
Oh no, I'm sorry.
How dare you do this to chat?
I see a fellow marzipan fan in your chat, so hell yeah.
I have not heard of. I have had Toblerone. I did not like it very much. It's like because it's just chocolate. And it's got like kind of a crunch, but it's like 90% chocolate, and I cannot handle. I cannot handle
Marzipan
chocolate
is
by itself,
Russian.
by itself. It sounds Russian.
Is it?
Sorry, it's German. German.
That also makes sense. Wait, yeah. Actually, I should have known that. It sounds more German than Russian. I know languages.
So, do we want to dive into sniper shit?
I suppose so, huh?
Wait, hey, before we get there, Escape Boy in chat.
Before
said,
we get
"Hey,
there, well, we're all still friends.
Hey, have you heard that you can identify the texture of whatever you look at by imagining licking it?
What?
That's all.
I guess that's what I was doing to this marzipan here.
You just picture licking it. Yeah, that works.
Picture.
Yeah.
I don't.
Do you imagine the texture of sandpaper?
Only because I've had grit in my mouth before, so I know what to expect.
All right, because you're a geologist.
We do indeed taste rocks. That is the thing.
True? Is that real?
Only with
glad-
salt. Only with salt. Not.
I'm glad I'm not the only one here who has licked a rock.
So I mean, if you want to get technical, sometimes whenever you need to identify the grain size in something like a mud or a siltstone, what you do is if you put your finger in it and you rub it on your teeth, if you can feel it rubbing against your teeth, then it's a silt. But if you don't feel anything, it's a mud. The grain sizes are too small to actually like scrape your teeth. So that's something you can do.
I'm stuck all the way back. Zesty, you're a geologist? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm a geologist.
Oh, I'm a fake fan. I had no idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, I research earthquakes. That's what I do. It's my day job.
Yo, pretty cool.
Nice.
Do you know Sandy Loam? Who is she?
It's a good friend of mine, actually. It's my colleague. Her office is down the hall.
Sandy Loam.
God, you get fucking Sandy. That joke I've heard so many goddamn. Even people in my fucking hallway, in our offices, they use that joke. Oh, jeez. That's all right. At least you didn't do what's the 3 types of rock. Ah.
But of course, in chat said, could you imagine the texture of a TF2 force of nature by licking it?
No.
You have to imagine licking it. You're doing it wrong.
I don't want to envision licking a gun.
A gun.
Why?
A gun. Why would you lick a gun?
Could you imagine the texture of Sniper by
Obviously,
licking
to
him?
determine the texture. Why are we even?
Yeah.
Would you lick
No.
Sniper to determine the texture?
Shut up.
Okay.
Which part? Which part?
Go back. Go back.
Go back to the gun. I think we'd all like a gun in our mouths right now.
Go back.
Anyways, yeah, we could talk about Sniper, I guess, instead of
Okay.
Sniper's texture.
We can start there with Sniper's texture.
Sniper's
No.
texture.
Oh fuck.
But yeah, I guess
I think.
oh, okay.
No, you go ahead. You lead us off. However you want to start this.
I just wanted to start by saying, a lot of people seem to think that. So I I did not talk to Zesty about this. I'm gonna throw him under the bus a little bit. At the beginning of the at the beginning of the stream, I I there before we start the video, right? Zesty turns to me and Alan is like, Dad, do you know anything about Fish? He's a sniper main, and I went, yeah, and I think that colored the perception of like most people who watched the podcast, who seem to think that we just disagree with everything you say principally because you were a sniper main.
And that could not be further from the truth.
Yeah, it has literally.
Just want to clarify.
Yeah, it has literally. You being a sniper, sniper mains are not subhuman creatures. We do not subscribe to that idea.
We are not prejudiced.
They are people just like you and me. That's not.
They are people just like you and me.
It's like a So,
I have a friend who's a sniper main.
I just wanted to clarify because a lot of people were just like, I think you wrote off everything he said because he's a sniper main. Fun fact,
I did read a couple of comments like that.
I may have inadvertently poisoned the well, and I apologize. That was not my intention to like write off all your arguments. It's like, oh, you think he's a fucking sniper main, therefore he's fucking wrong. No, that's not what my intention was.
No, it's great because you literally say, you're like, I'm not trying to poison the well, but then you say like, he is a sniper main. I'm like, oh.
My point was saying that is that his like. This is something that you need to acknowledge when discussing balance inside of TF2. If a majority of your time is put into one or two classes and then you're discussing one that you rarely play, that's a very different perspective than, say, someone who has 9,000 hours on that class, right?
Yeah.
I also feel like, to interrupt a little bit, I also feel like someone's perspective on a certain class is going to be biased in a different way once they spend too much time in that class. Like Spy is, I think, towards the lower half of my playtime in terms of like just the 9 classes. It's like above heavy and medic, like almost tied with engineer, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like I've got a decent amount of experience with Spy, but it's just like it's definitely, I would argue in terms of play, one of my worst classes. And in terms of just like what I know I'm talking about, just like
And something else too, it's like, that's not to invalidate the feedback and opinions of newer players, because that's also equally as important, especially from like a game design standpoint, right? If you're a fresh player and you're coming into a game and what you're experiencing is raw ass, then it's like, whoa, something is wrong because the game's not hooking you. So you need the opinions of newer players, right? Lesser experience. I can't get the grammar. Josh, get the words out. Players with less experience also provide valuable insight into the balance of a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. What are you doing?
No, don't ignore me. Okay, I'm not. I heard what you said.
You're like, was that Tyler on your phone?
Yeah,
like you look like Tyler.
Yeah, I've seen this from like 10 different people, and I was just like, who is this person? But yeah,
I think it's just because the hair.
Yeah, and general face structure. But no, I think that I was gonna say, I recently released a video last week, self-plug, about the TF2 art style debate, and I got a lot of criticism because people did not like that I acknowledged that I was biased in one direction. When I feel like it's important to acknowledge at some point when you're discussing something, especially something as complex as game balance, where you might be biased in a specific direction.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, you need to be forthcoming with that, otherwise it might skew your viewers' perception of what you're saying.
Yeah, because a lot of the things you say make more sense under the we feel make a lot more sense under the context of if you're viewing it from someone who has played sniper for the majority of time in the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because like things like there were a lot of times where you would say something like, "Why can't Spy do this?" And we would be like, "Well, Sniper's doing that." Or that's something only Sniper should be able to do. That's why Spy can't do it. Because it's not Spy's job, it's Sniper's job.
And for the record, getting a Sniper main's opinion on different classes is worthwhile. And
yes, it's valuable, yes.
Like, that's a valuable...
Well, I should hope so. Like, most of my videos are actually not on Sniper.
Yeah, yes, correct. No, I think, no, it's just...
We're not trying to tell you to stay in your lane. Right?
Yeah, no, that's not
that's
not
what
the
we're
point.
going for.
Yeah, it's more the idea that like we had a lot of questions on like how did he come to this conclusion, and our answers were just like, well, because you know. And then we had to like shrug at each other and be like, I mean, I guess, and then we just moved on. Because, and I think that if you were to say,
yeah, like
if you were, if you were, I know I'm slow, but if we were,
no, you're fine, you're fine.
If you were to say like, and I'm not saying you have to formulate every sentence or every argument this way, but if you were to say something to the effect of, I play sniper, so I'm used to this occurring, then statements like, it makes me feel bad when this happens would carry a lot more weight under the context of, I am used to this happening, so when I play a different class and this happens, it rubs me the wrong way. Because then it helps separate when you're making like a critique about how you feel playing the class versus a critique, like an objective critique about game balance or game design.
Yeah, and I think the biggest example of that, I don't want to call it like sniper main bias coming in, but one of the things, the biggest thing you put in that video is like when you were describing what sniper needs to do in order to like get his headshots versus what spy is doing, right? It's like sniper is hanging by the back lines, he has to charge his shots, he has to aim, and then spy is stab and he's done. Right? That's a very reductive thing to like that angle is pretty bad, right? Because like obviously a lot more goes into spy timing and getting ready to move.
I understand that completely. It's just like that wasn't in. I wasn't really necessarily trying to say like, oh hey, sniper is so much harder than spy in this situation. It's like the whole point of that section was like, this is the situation where spy should ideally have like the most advantage over sniper because he can just go like stab and like that's it. Compared to sniper who's got all this like prep work and busy work and all that shit, where he's got to hold still and.
I don't think sniper has prep work or busy work at all. Spy has infinitely more in order for him to take action.
Yeah, positioning with spy is arguably much more important than it is with sniper.
Yeah.
Well, I just meant in terms of like mechanically getting the kills done, like multiple high health target kills done in quick succession. Like I would say that spy should have an advantage there over sniper, ideally. He should or he does. That was the point of that segment, not necessarily saying like I wasn't trying to boil down spy into like this a super simplistic, easy thing.
Okay,
that wasn't the intention with that.
Trying to say that like given completely ideal situations, sniper still has to wait 3 whatever seconds per kill. Whereas if everyone is lined up in a conga line, spy could just like walk through all of them.
Pretty much, yeah. Like even in the most ideal circumstances for both classes, like let's say there's just like 3 heavies high-fiving each other on the point, you still got to charge up all those shots, and then with the spy in the same situation, it's just like boom, 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 done.
True, but like, then I mean that's still in my eyes a very reductive argument because that's boiling down things into the base mechanics if nothing is trying to act against you, right? And in the case of a spy, you have to be within melee range, which is the most dangerous place to be in TF2, a game where everything has damage ramp up aside from a select few weapons, right? Where every class is the most effective in your face, except sniper, right? So, and I think posing in the argument in that way felt very reductive to what like the risks and everything spy has to go through in order to get those kills, whereas a sniper is typically so far removed from all of the action in a game where even if he fucks up, he's fine. He can just reload and try again in less than a second, and then boom, he's off to the races.
Yeah, if you were trying to say that in ideal situations, spy should have a better do a better job than sniper at certain things, and that isn't the case because of bad design, I don't think that came across in the way that you said the things that you said.
I had hoped it would, but I suppose maybe it didn't.
We did not come to that conclusion from what you said, and I'm not saying, and that could, hey, we all could have bad media literacy. I'm willing to say that we could all be stupid.
Listen, the terms media literacy are poison to me because of Twitter. I can't, I'm not subjecting you guys to that.
When we watched it, none of us came away thinking that that's what you were saying. We all came away with the idea that you were saying that you were saying that sniper requires a lot more is a lot more difficult to play when killing multiple targets than spy is.
And,
I wouldn't
and high
necessarily
health
say-
targets.
Yeah, like high health targets is the main thing
Mm.
because like obviously the sniper would have to either hit multiple shots on the same target or charge up one shot, which is just more and more time being consumed compared to spy. Like the clip I show during that point where it's just like I get those 3 backstabs basically in the time it takes me to say like spy, you just get stab, you're done.
Mm.
Like I feel like that was a decent example of just how much more effective spy should be at this sort of thing in the most ideal circumstances.
Mm.
Because I think that's kind of the argument, is that it requires a lot of setup to get into that position and the timing to have that happen, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of like getting the spy there in the first place, like yeah, there's a lot more to it, but just like once it's time to make the kill, then it's just like that's where my thought process was going.
Yeah, you just kind of stab.
Yeah. And then in which case, yeah, I probably would agree. I just don't think it was. I think it could have.
I still don't think it's a good argument to make because it still puts things down into the base mechanics, and then when you're taking them out of the context of the rest of the game, then yeah, obviously the spy is way more effective at mowing down multiple high health targets in a much more rapid succession. But
well, yeah, that's what leads into the next point. Is just like, but then in reality, what happens is like this, and this because of all these reasons.
Yeah.
I think that I'd probably agree. I would probably just say I didn't think it was conveyed well in the video.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
I screw up a lot in my scripts. I have to write them very quickly.
Out of curiosity, why?
YouTube is my job, so I gotta make videos like at least a couple times a month,
expeditiously,
just to pay the bills.
No, that's fair. It wasn't a judgmental statement. I was just curious.
Oh no, that's fine. Like I get it.
No, I also understand having to write scripts very quickly. It's just I was just curious if there was a different reason. Because I YouTube's also my job and I have to do it for the same reason. But there's also the matter of like I write scripts very quickly naturally because that's just the way my brain works. Like if I chunk out scripts over a period of days, the scripts will turn out worse because my thought process is just disconnected.
Oh yeah, you got to have that train of thought going.
Yeah.
I am glad that this is not my job because that allows me to take months to get a script just right.
I will spend a long time revising a script that I've already written, but writing that initial like stream of consciousness.
Draft,
yeah, that's the part that I'm more referring to.
Yeah, that's pretty much my same process. Is like I'll knock out the first draft pretty much in one sitting, and then I'll just like go over it as I'm, let's say, getting footage for it or something. Like I'm doing that pretty much right now with 2 videos I'm working on at the moment.
Yeah, and more power to you.
Yeah. But it often results in me making lots of mistakes that if I could correct in the moment, I would, and if I could correct them after the fact, I would. But YouTube decided to get rid of annotations, so
you should have people proofread your shit. See if people can catch like very clear mistakes that you need like a fresh pair of eyes to see, you know.
I probably should have had my spy main friends look at this one.
Yeah. Oh, also, this is I wanted to talk to you about this before the show, but it doesn't really matter, I suppose. I am sorry that we briefly I don't think you got to this part of the podcast. We briefly insinuated that you didn't credit because we were like there's gameplay in your there was gameplay in your video that clearly was not yours. It was a friend of yours. But we didn't know that it was a friend of yours, and we had to go through it, and we were like, he should really credit this person that he took this gameplay from.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That and he got me that. That was raw. He got me that footage for my kunai video, and I decided to reuse it. I ended up reusing a lot of footage in that video from some of my older ones because I wanted to get it edited really, really fast to get it done in time for the end of the month.
Yeah. No, I get it. We were like, he just took someone's gameplay and he just didn't credit them.
Yeah, sorry, that he gave me that for my I shouldn't say gave me that, but he let me use it for my kunai video.
Yeah, we kind of put the pieces together, but whatever. But yeah, going off of sniper related stuff, I guess we could talk about fixes, because you have your proposed fix for sniper, correct me if I'm wrong, is to like overhaul the way his ammo works? That's like your primary fix for sniper.
Well, I think we should probably establish something else first. I think that we can all agree in some capacity Sniper needs some kind of a change to make his presence more tolerable in the general flow of the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think we all agree on that, but I think beyond that we have very different visions on how that should be done.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people have just issues with how much damage the headshots will do, and I am of the opinion that those should stay the same, specifically for the reasons of keeping medic in check.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. See, for me, I think making the assumption that everyone's going to be at max health all the time is not a good assumption to make, because whenever someone's engaged, chip damage will immediately bring them down beneath those very important thresholds. And
I get that, but like I think that in regards to medic, it is so important that you're able to take him out quickly before he's able to make a play with an uber charge. And I think sniper being able to do that with such efficiency is really important for keeping medic in check, because otherwise he would be like almost impossible to stop from pulling off an uber. Except for maybe
I disagree completely, because it takes at minimum 40 seconds to build an uber, and the frequency at which a medic dies in your typical game, and the amount of difficulty it takes to, or the amount of difficulty it requires that is involved with medic staying alive to get that uber, I don't think is a good argument to say, oh, nothing else would stop him from popping that uber. Because once the medic has an uber, right, I think that it's somewhat unfair to have a mechanic insta-kill him that he can't do anything about or engage with, and just drop him, like a hat, right? I don't think that's a good thing.
I mean, what he can do about it is pop earlier before, like, because sniper is probably going to be in one of a few positions, right? So if the medic is willingly walking into one of those positions with full uber and he hasn't used it yet, that is an assumed risk on the part of the medic.
Yeah, would you not argue that it's an issue of positioning at that point, where you shouldn't have been around that corner without Ubering already?
Then, but I feel like that falls apart, because that could be literally any corner and literally any position. Yeah. If you are exposed where a sniper can see you anywhere, that argument holds at all times. Yeah, it's not just specific spots.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it's a strong argument to say just like just don't be there.
Yeah, just don't be seen is not a good argument.
Yeah, because it's nigh impossible to know where a sniper is before you see him the first time, and then he could just move, and suddenly that puts way too much impetus on the person fighting the sniper and not the sniper himself.
Yeah.
I don't think that argument's fair. Although because I think you two just made your positions clear. I wanted to, because I typed this in the chat earlier regarding Zesty's hot take video. I don't think that sniper, relatively to how other games are balanced, is really that bad. I would
agree with that.
There are certainly, I don't think he's definitely the worst balancing issue in TF2, or the worst balanced class in TF2. I would agree with that.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, the vaccinator exists. Let's not go too crazy.
I didn't mean issue was the wrong word. I meant to say class. He's the worst balanced class in TF2, but I don't think that his existence is, like, there are definitely way worse things in a lot of other games that I know equally as well. Like, all of the Smash games have the characters that are way worse balanced than snipers in TF2, and I think
sure, and I think that's fine, but I think it also does this argument a disservice of, like, oh, compared to other games that are not relevant to TF2, it's not that bad.
I know, but I'm saying that I'm not, and this doesn't apply to you specifically, Zesty. I'm saying that when people talk about Sniper, they often exaggerate his effect on the game, and I think I'm saying that in relation to, like, his effect on the game in relation to a character like Fox in Melee or Steve in Ultimate, since I'm Smash Brothers, like those characters affect those games much more than Sniper affects TF2, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's not to say that Sniper should not be changed, or that Sniper doesn't have to be. There aren't things that could be done to Sniper to make him more bearable. I absolutely believe that. But like
my take on that would be, I guess, just like I don't like, Sniper is probably the class that I would change the most at base of any of the classes in TF2, but I don't think he's like completely overpowered and ridiculous like that or anything.
See, my stance on that is his mere presence inside of a game like Team Fortress 2 is inherently flawed and therefore by definition is overpowered. He is the biggest mismatch in comparison to the other 8 classes, and it is fundamentally, in my opinion, a mistake when it came to designing this game at its core back in fucking, 30 years ago.
30.
What exactly is the issue, the fundamental issue with Sniper that you
So
see
for
then?
me, the fundamental issue about Sniper is that he's the only class that does not require to engage in close quarters combat in order to be the most effective, whereas every other class is forced to engage in close quarters combat in order to have their full functionality realized. Sniper is oftentimes so far removed from your typical game that his effectiveness is almost always realized without having to engage the enemy team, and that's why his main kit is overly oppressive, because he doesn't need to actually engage the other team to be effective, right? And therefore, the amount of counterplay required to deal with him is insane unless you are also Sniper, and it really is annoying to play against.
I think the bigger issue is that he is also effective at short range as well.
Exactly, and that effectiveness
against the people that can get up to short range, like a spy.
Yeah, exactly, and that's another issue, and that bleeds into a lot of his unlocks as well, where you would assume this class should be inherently weaker at close range, and he's not. His mechanics, his base mechanics without unlocks are unchanged at close range, right? He can still land headshots at someone right in front of him, where it's like, oh, I thought he was only supposed to be able to do this at far range, but I mean, in my opinion, every class should be a close quarters combat thing. But yeah,
I think he has a place as a long range character.
I think
his okay. I don't think that's necessarily an issue. I think the issue really is that even if, like, theoretically the class that's meant to counter him is spy, to sneak up behind and backstab him, but he has an item that makes him unbackstabbable, and then once he is not backstabbed, the guy turns around and kills the spy,
yeah, that bleeds into his unlocks.
I don't know.
I think that a lot of issue with the range just comes down to map design. Like, ideally, Sniper should have like 1 or 2, maybe, like, super long range sight lines that he's allowed to, well, not super long range, but like long range sight lines longer than the other classes that he's allowed to use. But like, they don't cover much, and flank routes can like really easily bypass those, right? But the problems is like the problems of a lot of maps, especially payload maps, are that he'll get like a bunch of these. And a lot of this does have to do with just how, like I was talking about earlier, how elastic the front line is in terms of just where you're even supposed to be with payload. And then you factor in just how many sight lines you can have there, and it's just like the Sniper can be ridiculous on payload, especially on like payload defense.
See, I feel like if you have to tailor your entire map around the existence of one class, then that's much more indicative of a problem with the class. That isn't to say that map design isn't sensitive to the presence of every class. Obviously, you don't want like a big giant open box, because that's going to fuck up everything, right? But map design is very much the most sensitive to the presence of a Sniper. Absolutely, right?
I mean, my argument there, I guess, would be like, if every class is ideally engaging in combat in this specific range, then having every, like, let's say, like, chunk of the map be within that specific range isn't really a detriment to map designers, especially if it keeps Sniper in check. So
Fish, I have a question. So when you say, so you were saying like long sight lines on maps are bad map design. They're like, or not in general, but the overabundance of them and how long they can be, how oppressive they can be. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
So
Frontier Second is the fucking worst. I hate that so much.
Yeah. So, assuming that the maps can't be changed, would it not be a universal fix to simply limit the damage that Sniper can do at long range to prevent those sight lines from being so oppressive?
You could do that, but it's like that creates the same issue that the Ambassador currently has, where there's just this invisible wall that you don't know about, where all of a sudden your headshots aren't going to do as much damage as they should be doing. And I think I think that a lot of Sniper rebalances end up completely ignoring the issue of how is this going to be any fun for the Sniper currently playing. because I still think that's an important aspect of it.
See, I disagree with that completely because every other weapon in this game has fall off in some capacity where you have to be at least loosely aware of how much damage your weapon is going to do at certain ranges against certain targets. So you have to be cognizant of those distances where you're going to be doing less damage with fall off. Not to say that the changes to the ambassador were okay. I think the nerfs were fucking stupid, but I don't think that's an argument against putting something like damage fall off on a sniper. Not saying that's a good solution.
But would you be Fish? Would you be amicable to that change if, let's say, while you're scoped in, there's we could make a better version of this, but for the argument's sake, there's a number above whenever you hover over someone's head, there's a number above the head that tells you how much damage you're doing.
That would be something at least. I wouldn't be completely opposed to that because, like, I guess that would be the issue of just a lack of feedback in terms of when you're sniping.
Because I think that I would be fine with that that being as a compromise for sniper receiving damage fall off.
From a rangefinder.
Yeah, because I think if any class should know how much damage he's doing at long range, it should be the sniper. So I think that's probably fair.
I'm not averse to that idea either.
I wouldn't be completely opposed to it, but again, like I just don't particularly think that the damage that sniper can do at long range is necessarily his problem. I think that the problems are generally down to poor map design and also how long he's able to sustain himself for basically no cost, compared to something like an engineer who like needs to get the setup, but once he's set up, he can sustain himself for as long as he needs to. And then with sniper, he has no setup and then can sustain himself for pretty much as long as he needs to, which is like that's an imbalance. If the setup is minimal, then the sustainability should likewise be minimal.
Yeah, I think that would be. I think that is a separate problem. I think that is also an issue. I just think that the damage he could do at long range is also a problem. I think that both of them are issue, and that's coming from me, someone who has the most hours at sniper. I really like that class, and I think that playing him is super satisfying. But also I feel really bad sometimes because sometimes the idea of being able to do 150 damage in an eighth of a second is kind of ridiculous to me. And even barring skill, I'm assuming that you're not, you don't subscribe to the argument that because it's difficult, it's okay. I'm assuming.
Not in terms of just like obviously all of sniper's problems, but I think that skill expression is important for how effective stumping should be in general.
Well, yeah, because yes, but not. I don't think it in a matter of game balance. That's more of an issue of satisfaction in relation to the game. Like, you want your game to have depth. You don't want the most effective thing to be accessible immediately. But in terms of game balance, you should balance your game around what could be possible, not what the average player might do. Or at least that's my philosophy. Because
that's the main thing that I take issue with on sniper as well, is that he doesn't have any inherent limiting factors to his potential damage output, unlike every other class in the game, right? Every other class in the game has something that hinders their kit's max effectiveness, right? You got damage fall off, you got bullet spread, you got projectile speed, you got reload speed, you have inherent class movement, you have, like you said, setup time. Sniper lacks all of that, and when you lack all of that, there's nothing hindering his effectiveness other than raw skill, and that's a problem.
I mean, I do think that there's more hindering sniper than just like once you get good enough at the game, you're literally unstoppable.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's true.
I didn't say you're literally unstoppable, but a high hour sniper is very easily the most oppressive presence in this game.
I completely disagree with that. I have been on multiple servers where it's just like they have more than one like 10,000 hour god tier sniper on their team and they can't push past first.
I think in the presence of the correct team makeup, he will become the most oppressive presence in the game. Obviously, if you have like 6 snipers, then it doesn't matter how good they are. Their team's just going to roll over them. But if you have a high hour sniper behind a mildly competent team, it sucks cock. It is one of the worst things to have to deal with in this game.
I think that is like, I think that would arguably be one of Sniper's weaknesses, is that he is very dependent on his team, because if he doesn't have like anything going for him, like a sniper without an engineer next to him is basically fucking worthless.
I disagree. I think sniper requires the least amount of team presence in order to be effective. So long as his team is roughly put together and is roughly engaging the enemy team and not allowing for them to push you and close the distance to actually kill you, then the sniper is fucked in terms of like how powerful he can be. Whereas every other class is way more sensitive and way more reliant on what their team is doing, and also in order to also be effective.
I don't. I'm afraid I don't agree with that at all.
I was gonna ask, Fish, is there a class that you think doesn't require coordination with their team?
Doesn't require it? Like, I think every class requires it on some level, but like there are some classes I think that don't necessarily need it in order to make impactful plays. Like maybe Scout could just like do a dumb flank run in and fucking clean house. Like I was on a fucking I was on an Uncletopia server with JPEG relatively recently. The man was going on a fucking 12v1 and he was winning. JPEG fucking scares me, man.
I've seen things from that individual. I think that Scout would probably be my pick for the least the class that interacts with their team the least. But
I would also agree with that in terms of how effective he can be on his own.
But I would then put Sniper as second. Personally, I don't, because I think that every other class in the game aside from those two is vitally important to their performance that they are coordinating with their team to some capacity.
Yeah, and if sentry guns didn't exist, Scout would become the most oppressive presence in this game.
And I guess also the benefit that all 7 other classes get from participating with their team is greater than that of Scout and Sniper. Like both of them don't benefit nearly as much as every other class from coordination with their team.
I agree.
But I don't think that if that is not a problem for Scout, I could not argue that that's a problem for Sniper either. So I would say that Sniper's lack of interaction with his team is not an inherent problem, but the lack of incentive he has to coordinate with his team might be a problem, because Scout has an incentive to coordinate with his team because he benefits from distraction much more than Sniper does. Same as Spy. Because the enemy can be fully aware of you, right? And when a sniper is present, they could see you, but because they can't engage with you, they're still fucked, right? Yeah. I think that one of the main issues, one of the reasons why I think damage is an issue, is just because of the lack of the aforementioned lack of counterplay. It's very difficult to get close to a sniper who is, like a god at the game. And
that goes back to what I said before as well, where you don't even need that competent of a team to support him. You still have to push through that team in order to get to the sniper that's mowing down your team, right?
And I don't think
oh, sorry.
No, I'll let you go.
Oh, sorry. You can go ahead.
I was just gonna. I don't think one player should be able to have that effect on the game. In any.
I mean, any player who's good enough at the game is going to have that effect. Again, 12v1 against JPEG is fucking absurd. I really think you guys are understating just how much an effective team just being... Like, again, it's not that the sniper is necessarily interacting with his team. It's that he's completely dependent on them in order to accomplish literally anything.
The same could be said for most other for every other class as well.
I suppose so, but it's like I feel like taking down a sniper who doesn't have a team supporting him is especially trivial.
That can be said for literally every other class. That's not an argument.
I think
I don't think so.
I would like. I think every other class.
That's not the case for like demo or soldier or something.
If a demo is cut out by himself against 5 people, they're dead. The same could be said for every
even
other
a 1v1. Even a 1v1.
See, I just like using the arguments of 1v1s because that waters down what this game is. It's a team-based game, and not to say that you don't get a lot of 1v1 interactions, but the 1v1 scenario should not dictate whether or not something is fully balanced or not, because that's not what this game is for. It's a team-based game.
Well, like you can't exactly boil down every interaction to being a team-based interaction either. You kind of have to look at it both ways, right? And I think
True, but we also don't balance this game for, let's say, MGE.
Right. But I'm just over here thinking, like, if you are a single player who decides I'm going to go out of my way to single-handedly take out this sniper, like you're a soldier or something on Badwater, pushing it through Badwater last, and the sniper is in the sniper spot right outside of his spawn, you just go around the flank, jump up. He doesn't have an engineer next to him. You shoot 2 rockets at him, he dies.
Yeah, but also the soldier dies. He's not getting out alive. He has to sacrifice so much in order to maybe kill one guy.
I mean, I have made that play many times and not died immediately afterwards.
I still don't think that's a valid argument. I still think because that requires so much from other people in order to even come close to dealing with the sniper if they are not playing sniper themselves. Yeah, in order to traverse a huge distance at rocket jumping, chewing away more than half your health, now putting yourself behind the enemy line where everyone's now fully aware of you, you sacrifice yourself and you die in order to kill a sniper who will then just respawn and go right back to that same spot in a much less time than you're going to have to respawn as a soldier and then do it again. And in that time, he's going to kill 6 people in order for you to then go back and kill him one more time.
I think that I think a better way to approach this from both parties might be to approach it from the perspective of in comparison to other classes, right? So when like Fish, when if sniper goes out of spawn, he's sitting on Badwater last, right? And a rocket jumping soldier has to take care of him, right? How long do you think that takes approximately? We'll say it's Badwater last specifically.
Okay, like from, let's say, the point where everyone on blue is grouping up, like right above the slope.
Sure.
Soldier walks through the little, I think it's called map room.
Yeah.
Walks through the map room, makes one little hop jump over there, shoots 2 rockets at the sniper, and then he's dead. That takes like probably 30 seconds.
Okay.
The sniper sees you and kills you in 2.
When you're around the corner and he can't see you. When you're going in the entry.
Yeah, then you go through map room. He sees you through the window and kills you in 2 seconds.
Why is he looking in map room?
Why wouldn't he be? If he's on scope, he has full view of the entire last point.
Why would he be on scope when he's on last, looking at the main choke point?
Because snipers are infinitely more effective when they do rapid bursts of quick scopes rather than staying scoped in hard scoped. Any high skill sniper, and you yourself included, will understand and probably know that it's much to your detriment to remain in tunnel vision for long periods of time.
For long periods of time, sure, but like
even the amount of time to get a full charge, right? You're not doing it that often.
Okay. I mean, like, first of all, there's always going to be a heavy on payload offense. That's just how it works. It's probably an overkilled one too. Second of all, like, this is assuming a lot on the part of the sniper.
Yeah, sorry. I'll let you go.
That is just assuming so much on the part of the sniper. And you were talking earlier about how useful it is for Spy to be able to, like, take advantage of periods of distraction. And this is literally the exact same situation, just with a soldier instead of a spy.
Sure, and now in the 1v1 scenario, I completely agree, but then you're also forgetting the other factor of the sniper has the rest of his team between him and the soldier, and you have to assume that the rest of that team is not going to see the soldier jumping in.
Yeah, from map room, no one ever holds there. They're all down there by the engine nest.
That's not true. Oftentimes, a lot of people are in map room and camp out in there. There's a demo man always in map room with a sticky trap set up. And then if you do it once, people realize, oh shit, they're going through map room, and then they'll start camping in there.
I think this is
it might work once.
I think this argument's getting way too specific. Because the point I was trying to make was I was going to offer, so if the soldier was bombing, do you think the soldier would take a longer time bombing any other class but heavy, except in obviously there are all the other classes would be in different places, but for the sake of argument, let's say for some reason they're not. All of them are in the same place as the sniper. Do you think the soldier would take more or less time to get, I don't know, a scout in the same position?
Um,
Like, do you think that's more difficult or less difficult for the soldier to get a scout in the same position?
mean, scouts are really good against rocket jumping soldiers to begin with, but I'm assuming you're just using like a neutral class as an example here, right?
Yeah,
As opposed to just like
my thing
like
is
sniper.
my thing is right. When I think when most people are talking about like, oh, sniper's really oppressive, right? They're comparing it to in relation to other classes in the game. Whereas, while that soldier is rocket jumping, right? If the soldier's rocket jumping, I think most people would argue that the sniper has more of an effect, has a more of a potential effect on the soldier as opposed to like a scout. Like if a scout sees a rocket jumping soldier, that he gets a very long distance meat shot or pistol shots, but there's no chance he's killing the soldier before he lands. It's like it's basically never happening. Whereas for the sniper, that's a very real possibility. At the very least, the soldier's going. If he gets a quick scope, the soldier's at 50 health, and he's already taken damage from the rocket jump. So he's at like little
and
to no.
And the knockback fucks over his jump and locks him in the air.
Yeah. So I think most people, when they are talking about sniper's effect on the game, they're referring to how other classes in situations with sniper just gets a if the sniper has perfect aim, assuming, then the sniper gets a much larger benefit for that skill level than a lot of other classes playing perfectly in the similar situations. I think that's what most people would say.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying about limiting factors, right? There are mechanics inherently baked into every class that limit their effectiveness.
And that's why like in a situation where sniper has even hip fire damage fall off, which I think someone mentioned in chat, even just hip fire damage fall off, like not even scope damage fall off, would be helpful, because it would if let's say the sniper isn't good enough to quick scope, he has to hit the shot, he's doing like less damage than that scout is from earlier, so the scout now has an advantage in that situation against a rocket jumping soldier. Okay, things like that. That's what I think. That's what most people are saying.
Well, for starters, a lot of other classes just have more options once they see a soldier bombing at them. Like they could just move out of the way for starters, which with sniper isn't nearly as much of an option. His big weakness in that situation is just like, I have to stand still if I'm going to hit this shot. And obviously that makes him a lot more vulnerable as the soldier is making his approach. And second of all, I would say that like in this particular like comparison, right? Making the more aggressive but quicker bomb on the sniper is that's a risk assessment. You're willingly taking a much bigger risk there in order to get the sniper faster, when you could take the safer route and ensure the kill on the sniper but it takes a little bit longer.
Part of the argument against that is that you can take the safe route and get the more guaranteed kill, but that doesn't put the sniper back that much. They wait for 7 seconds to respawn, and then they're back at it again.
On Badwater last defense, you're waiting like 20 seconds to respawn.
Well, yeah, but
depending on when you get thrown into the respawn wave. But this still goes back to the amount of effort and the amount of the amount of time and resources that need to be spent in order to deal with the sniper, because of how far removed he is from the team fight, right? And the amount of sacrifice anyone has to go through in order to deal with him, right? And this is assuming that whatever action you take is going to work, right? Because you made it assume as if though once the bomb is initiated, it's a guarantee. What's stopping the sniper from moving, right? Surfing the first rocket away, and he's safe because he now lands with the rest of his team, and then the soldier gets shredded by whatever else is there.
Well, in that situation, I would say that again, that is down to map design. A lot of sniper spots are pretty closed off and make the sniper more vulnerable to things like explosive spam and things like that.
The issue with
and someone just brought up in chat as well. It's like, then why not just play sniper yourself and kill the other sniper when it's just that much easier to do? Because that is the counterplay, because that is the best option for counterplay. Whereas for countless and most other class engagements in this game, you have many other options in order to win, right? Whereas against sniper, the most effective thing you can do is just also play sniper.
I honestly completely disagree with that.
What situation would you say, like if there's a sniper on the other team, do you think the rocket jumping soldier is a better counter than another sniper?
In most situations, honestly, yes.
I completely disagree with that. What are you talking about?
unless you are absolutely assured that you are better than the other sniper, I would take the rocket jumping soldier.
That is
A
interesting.
worse sniper is just dead fucking weight.
That's a good point.
You'd have to be betting on your own skill in that situation.
Yeah, that's a hefty bet. And
I
if the sniper is that oppressive that you really need to like throw yourself at him in order to kill him, then fuck, dude, I don't trust my chances as a sniper against that.
I'm not sure how. See,
I don't know, man. I've had many games where I have a 10,000-hour sniper chewing through my team. All I gotta do is throw on the Sydney sleeper, hide behind a corner, and I dominate him. And after a couple minutes, and then he rage quits, instead of me having to then go out of my way to play soldier and die in order to maybe kill him.
Yeah, but surely that's an anecdotal argument, Zesty.
It is, but that's still, I think, valid evidence to provide, because it's like because Fish does it as well.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to steer the conversation away from. Well, you see, when I play the game, because it's.
Well, I mean, like ultimately, that's how that's what it's gonna come down to, because obviously we're basing it off of our personal experiences, right?
Well, yes, but you have to understand that we're referring to the game. When you're trying to balance a game, you don't want to balance it around how your experiences go, because that's going to be different for everyone. You want to try and find.
I understand that.
Yeah, you want to try and find some. That's why I think it's best to pretend as if the person we're balancing the game around is perfect, because that's like the end point. Like that's the potential. If we balance around the potential, then that we can balance it in such a way to where the maximum damage output is not ruining the game for everyone else. And that's not to say that Sniper necessarily does that. It's just I think that is a good way to go about game balance. And I think that I'll let you go.
Keep going.
No. I'll let you. Got you.
I'm just thinking that, like, looking at it from the perspective as like this player is perfect can often lead into a sort of issue where it's this player knows exactly what you're going to do and what you're trying to do, and it's just like the fact that the player wins is already a foregone conclusion at the start of the argument. You know what I mean?
Well, we're not assuming that the player knows knows everything that is going. The player's not God. We're assuming the player has like maximum skill. That's the assumption that we're balancing around.
I understand that. It's just like I feel like it can delve into that territory a little bit.
I guess the technical term would be like perfect execution. There's a game design like thought experiment about who would win in a fight, a person with perfect reaction time or a person with perfect execution, and with the idea being that one of them has perfect defense and the other one has perfect offense. The idea is that you should balance around or I think the idea that often comes up from that is that you should balance around the former, because the latter is human dependent. Everyone's reaction time can be trained, but there's a human limit to it. I use the argument when we talked about this last podcast. I play goalie personally in soccer, and the goalie is like the defensive equivalent to a sniper in TF2. In that, like a sniper who is playing like a sniper who can kill, who can one shot all of the 9 classes, assuming you're charging or whatever. A goalie hypothetically can block every single shot and make sure that the game doesn't end in anything but a 0-0 tie at the very least, if not a win, assuming that the goalie is playing perfectly. The difference between that and something like sniper is that there is a human limit that is built into goalie as a position. The goal is so large at a professional level that it is basically impossible to block certain shots, which makes the goalie a balanced position. Whereas there is no limiting factor that prevents Sniper from doing what he does at the highest possible level. And that's, I think,
that is my point.
I think that's what most people have an issue with. And I think that's a fair way to balance the game, to balance it around assuming that the person is at the highest possible level. But I also understand the idea that I am... Though I do not agree, I am understanding of the idea that damage is not the problem, and that there are other issues that could be. Like I could understand why map design could be blamed for Sniper's issues. It's just I don't like appealing to map design because I kind of agree with Zesty in the sense that if you're having to change map design because of one singular class, when you could change something about that class that fixes most of the map design's issues, it's like I would rather do
and that's also not to say that map design isn't a problem. It can be, but this goes back to what I said, that map design is the most sensitive to the presence of a sniper.
Except for
if you inherently change the class, then that would fix 90% of, okay, it's 90% is, I have no idea to get a rough figure, but I believe it would fix most of the problems that sniper would have on all of these maps.
I mean, I would say that, like, if not sniper, then engineer is the class that is most affected by map design. Like, look at the fucking last point of Phoenix.
I would say
engineer is another can of worms.
And I was gonna say engineer. I would argue engineer is probably more affected by map design than sniper is, but I think sniper is definitely second.
So I think, like,
oh, sorry.
If a lot of maps were designed in such a way that is as biased towards engineer as they are towards sniper and not the other way around, then I feel like the discussion would be in a different place. But
I think there would be discussion about both. Yeah, it is a hypothetical, but I think sniper. There would certainly be less discussion about sniper, and it would probably be less exaggerated or hyperbolic. But I think that the discussion around sniper would still exist because I think that his issues a lot of them are internal and would exist regardless.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of those things would still be around regardless if maps were more appropriately designed to account for his presence. There would still be issues with interacting with him.
I just think they'd be less obvious if that's the word you want to use. Also, out of curiosity, going back to if you because I know you run your bad weapon your weapon rebalance server. Yeah. Would you even for like a day consider doing a sniper rebalance where you have a scope that shows the damage you potentially deal? Because I don't think that's impossible to implement, and
that would be difficult to implement. I would have to talk to my mod about it, and like, he's the one who does all the rebalancing type stuff.
You could also just do it like a rangefinder style, or alternatively, like, if you're scoped in, draw a bubble beyond which you will have less, like a semi-transparent bubble that beyond which you have less than.
So like the engineer sort of building thing. Again, that would be possible. It's just like, when it comes to sniper on our rebalance server, it's less that we're unwilling to experiment with changing him a lot. It's just like the changes we've made to him are very effective in terms of just like just putting a damper on him a little bit, just putting him on the same level as the other like combat classes, which he should have been to begin with.
I think I would agree that that making ammo more of an issue adds a limiting factor, which does at the very least somewhat remedy some of the issues that we would have with the sniper, because it makes time a limiting factor. Time active would be the equivalent, similar to engineer. I agree.
Limiting his ammo is a useful stopgap, but I don't think it's the perfect solution.
Well, there's also the issue of reloading, because the reload that we gave to sniper also has this like ping sound. So that way, when he's reloading, you know exactly when he's vulnerable, and when like that is a situation where if you are that soldier rocket jumping in, you know you are 100% safe in just completely trashing that sniper.
True. I still think that only addresses half the problem, though, because the other half of the problem is distance, and that is a huge problem when the other 8 classes are limited by range in every way.
I feel like it.
Then having to deal with the rest of the sniper's enemy team to just approach him is a pain, because by the time you pick any class. By the time you manage to muscle through or find an opening to get to that sniper, he's already reloaded and is good to go again.
That's dependent on a lot of things, I think. Like, again, the class that I would jump to for that is soldier, because you just like 2 rockets off the wall, right over the corner. You're 2 more rockets in the sniper, he's done for. But like, honestly, I feel like if the issue of range, in my opinion anyway, comes down primarily to poor map design, and we've solved half of the problem with his sustainability and his ease of approach, at least in some capacity, then I would call that a pretty massive victory.
I would say it is certainly an improvement. And
An improvement, sure.
and I would be interested to see a rangefinder sniper rifle implemented. If that were ever in the cards for you, I would love to see that. I would love to even see just a comparison video about a bunch of different potential sniper fixes that people have thrown around, because that's a video I wish I could make if I had the modding ability. Just to
I know
have
Shonix made a few of those.
Yeah, just to have like a comparison of like, we put 100 TF2 players into a match and we gave them this, and then to see how like it's a RT game style experiment to see how different people react to that. That would be very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just very unrelated. Someone in chat said, "Who were the other two people aside from Zesty and Fish?" And
Ouch.
Man, it's his channel.
well, yeah. One of them is me. The L is me. I own this channel, the Lucid Letters, yeah. And the other one is a friend of mine. Does not have a YouTube channel. He's just here. Because yeah, I appreciate his presence, and he has good things to say. But yeah, so
yeah. I have a secret channel. Go watch the other episode to find out.
Yeah, that's true. You can learn how to make dyes in Minecraft if you find Furniture Set's secret channel.
To the tune of Owl City.
Yeah, to the tune of Owl City. Gosh, that was a whole thing. I'm of the opinion that, like, I would rather the ammo fix be in the game than nothing. I would be more amicable, I think, personally, to damage fall off implementation. But once again, personally, it's just like, I don't know. I get frustrated by sniper. Do you?
Don't get me wrong, I do too. Like,
yeah,
I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, there is nothing you can do about the fact that sniper is just not fun to fight.
I was gonna ask you, because we covered in the first episode of this podcast, we covered a series of videos. One of them being Uncle Dane's hot takes video, not the whole thing, but specific parts. And there's a part where he talks about sniper, and he says that the issue with sniper is just that he's not fun to fight against, and that there's nothing.
I wouldn't say that's the only issue with him.
Yeah,
but like,
I
think from the perspective of the people who end up fighting him, that is one of the that's the one that they end up walking away with.
I mean, that's just the side effect of his inherent problems, right? Like, well, that wasn't fun. Well, the question is why. Then that actually addresses the problems with the class.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Because like I think that a lot of people, when they're like, "Oh, that didn't feel good," they don't think about it any further. But in reality, often when something doesn't feel good to fight against, it's because you either don't understand how it works, or you don't understand, like, you do understand how it works, and it still doesn't feel like you could have done anything, like you had no control. We were talking about, as like a counter to, not you didn't make this argument, Fish, but this common argument of like, well, to be really good at sniper, it's really hard. We were talking about, like, we added a different 10th class to the game, and
this is something I was hoping you're gonna bring up, but go ahead.
Yeah, and the 10th class is a surgeon, and the surgeon class, right? You can have one of them on each team, and they have to perform complex brain surgery, and whoever performs brain surgery first, the game just ends, and that team wins.
The golden snitch of TF2.
Yeah, and like the to play the class, you have to get by like the apparatus, and you have to do it in like real life. There's like a built-in apparatus. The point being that brain surgery is really hard, and it would not be very fun to fight against the 10th class where the game just ends and there's nothing you can do. That's more of it's just a counter to people who think that difficulty is a fair critique against game balance, because when you take it to its logical extreme, it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, that is being taken to its logical extreme, though. Like, I would still argue that, like, the difficulty it takes in like performing an action as a sniper or as any class in any game should have a sufficient reward.
But do you
Like,
at what point?
Not always. I disagree with that. Just because something is hard to do doesn't mean that you should be rewarded outrageously for it.
Not outrageously, but I think you should be rewarded for it. Like, hey, you hit an air shot with like a sick pipe as a demo man. Yeah, you should be rewarded for that.
Yeah, and so if
But,
I
like-
do the same thing as a soldier, I should have max damage on my rocket.
I mean, if you use the direct hit.
The class should insta die. I mean, I don't think that's an appropriate argument,
I
because
would-
then that goes back
yeah.
to the idea of just because it's hard to do, therefore it should have this massive payoff.
The reason why weapons like the direct hit work aren't because they're hard to use. I don't think. I think it's because they are an objective trade off, not a difficulty one.
Yes, exactly.
If you could hit, even if you could hit every single rocket, right, and you got the damage bonus on every single one, you were still making a trade off of not being able to use splash damage and having less crowd control, which is why the direct hit is a balanced weapon. That's why it's not run in most competitive formats, to my knowledge.
Yeah, because it's inherently weaker in pretty much every scenario except in a 1v1 or against a stationary engineer building that is unattended.
Yeah,
And even then, if you manage to line every shot perfectly, if more than one person makes their presence known, you're fucked because you can't hit both targets at once.
so the thing is, like, I don't think difficulty is ever a fair argument when you're regarding balance. When you're regarding a game's satisfaction or a game's mechanical depth, absolutely. That's why single player difficulty is much more important when discussing the balance of a single player game as opposed to a multiplayer one. Because a single player game, you want the if you if you're playing like Sonic, right? The reason why Sonic is like the original Sonic 2D scrollers are so good is because the point of them is that you're supposed to go really fast, and you could get through the game really slowly, but that the mechanical depth is found in getting your time to go lower, and that's what the entire game is built around. And that's really difficult, right? But you are rewarded for it in game. So that's how it works for single player games. But if Sonic was a racing game, you wouldn't be balanced. It wouldn't be balanced around how difficult it is to go fast. It would be balanced around how difficult it is in relation to the other person, which is kind of the trade off. It's complicated. It's not like
Dude, you put it a whole hell of a lot better than I've been able to do over the past 3 fucking years. If I had said the exact same shit you just said 3 years ago, I'd be in way less hot water.
I still think that like there are other examples besides just like just sniper in TF2 that say, oh hey, doing this harder thing will give you more reward.
If there is
and I think that is a consistent game balance and game design feature within TF2 and within other games.
If I would, well then I'll just say that if you could show me another example where, or if someone else were trying to argue, if like let's say like we're talking about the vaccinator, right? Let's say like if we're talking about the vaccinator,
do we have to be?
No, like we don't have to go into like detail because I'm using it as an example.
I know.
Right? If let's make the vaccinator more difficult to use. Fuck it, we'll make it where in order to change the resistances, you have to input like the Konami code in less than a second. And or something, right? Or like there's a Dance Dance Revolution minigame that appears, something ridiculous that makes it way more difficult to use. But it's still the vaccinator. I don't think you would. If someone were to argue to me, be like, well, it's hard to use, I would be consistent. I would just say, well, I said it for this other thing. My game balance philosophy is consistent. I don't think that this is. My point is like if you pointed this out with other things, I would just be consistent and say that that's also a bad thing. It wouldn't change the difficulty of something doesn't move me, or my standard, or it doesn't move the needle for me. And also, I think that that being said, I think that we should add the proposed fix to the vaccinator where you have to play Dance Dance Revolution to switch resistances.
Hey, I'd be down with that. It's fucking better than nothing.
Yeah, specifically to Butterfly by what's that fucking? Hold on. It's a DDR Butterfly.
I think that you should have to do brain surgery in order to switch resistances.
Here, specifically this song. This one, because this one always sucked. That one. Don't play it on stream, you'll get copyrighted.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
Thank you. Hold on, let me look at which one this is. DDR Butterfly full with lyrics.
That one. Specifically that song.
Alan would know it.
It's everyone knows this song.
Everyone knows this song. Come
you know,
on.
I can't hear it because I can't play it on stream, or else I'll get copyrighted.
Fair enough.
When you hear it later, you'll know. You've heard it before.
No, well, right now I'm going to make it seem like Alan is weird for knowing it, because I think it's funnier that way.
No, and I think again, I wish I could have formulated my argument the way you did, because I would have received a whole hell of a lot less shit for it. And only recently, in talking with you and a few others, have been able to like brute force my head to come to the conclusion of Sniper being that the fact that skill being his main limiting factor is the biggest reason why he's unfun to play against and why he's a serious mismatch in the game.
Well, I had I talk about this in my game balance video that no one watched, but I like the idea that just because something is difficult does not make it balanced. It's a very common. Oh no! Oh gosh! My microphone fell. Oh, it was gonna happen.
It's falling apart.
Oh,
the
no.
foreshadowing from earlier.
Oh,
You
no.
come full circle.
No, the idea that I make a hypothetical game where there are two people who are both playing like a cowboy, and it's like a entirely reaction based game, and the reason why that's fine is because like whoever presses the button faster wins, right? It's very basic. And when you press the button, that's like a human. There's a human limiter there because reaction time is something you have to train physically with yourself. So that's why that's fine. But when you get to things that are more complex, where there is more that should be achieved, such as like if you add movement, right? Suddenly there's an added dimension there, and it's about. My point is that it's about the relationship you have with the other player.
Exactly.
It's not about the relationship you have with yourself. That's my whole thing.
No, yeah, and I think this goes back to what we were saying, is that you could have someone with peak, like the best reaction time, like you could have literal gods of the game at the other 8 classes, and there are still baked in mechanics that limit their effectiveness.
I mean, I would say that the same is true of Sniper.
With his primary weapons, I disagree, because the only limiting factor with their effectiveness is his aim. And that's it. And that's just a raw human input skill, right? And of course you're at the mercy of like, your ping and other weird janky shit, but Sniper has that's my main gripe is that.
That's not a limiting factor proposed by the game, or it's proposed by you as a person. Once again, you're fighting yourself.
I think that the inability to like move quickly and also like needing to look at a specific point in order to do all that damage, I think those are like legitimate limiting factors.
Thing is, they are, but they're not as heavily required as with every other class, right? Like the TF2 is very heavily dependent on movement, right? Your positioning and your timing, all that stuff, moving with your team is crucial with every other class. But with Sniper, he's so far out of the way that his positioning is really only required to deal with 2 things: other snipers and spam, and really 3 rather, spies. But throw on the Razorback, it becomes no problem. Or equip Girardi, that's a secondary problem issue. But the amount of
Sniper has a lot of secondary problems.
Yeah.
The limits to which those things, positioning and movement, right, are necessary and limit Sniper are far, far, far lower than with every other class in the game. It's like to where it's not enough, right? You can still certainly consider them limiting factors, but the dials turn to 1 on their impact, whereas the dial is turned up to 10 for everyone else.
Right, and that's why I would add
these things are.
That's why I would add more limiting factors to the Sniper rifle. But it's like I feel like in the state that Sniper is currently in, he has more limiting factors than just the human ability to aim, right? I feel like there's more to it than that.
I think I would agree, but I would also agree with Zesty that the limiting factors he does have kind of pale in comparison to the ones the other classes have.
Yes.
I would
right.
Now I agree that also I agree though that it's kind of hard to quantify impact. For instance, like if we were how much less does Sniper having less movement, right? How much better or worse is that than like I don't know, bullet spread for scout or something, or something like that. A limiting factor that another class has. It's kind of hard to figure that out, but I think that if we were like, we could probably we could be like really nerdy and we could science it in some way where we could do probably an experiment to figure that out.
That'd be really hard to do.
I agree.
That'd be annoying to do.
I agree, and I'm not saying I don't even think it's worth it, but I'm trying to be sympathetic to the position that yes, I agree he has limiting factors, and I also agree that it would be difficult to say, oh, these limiting factors are better or worse than other ones, but I think most people would agree that snipers' limiting factors aren't nearly as bad as the other classes.
Yeah, and that's why I would definitely add more of those, but it's like... Yeah.
It's more. I think it's just
an issue.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, I think it's just a difference of like the limiting factors you add. You think that they would be enough, whereas we just don't. And that's not something that we could change each other's opinions on because that's like a subjective. The subjective part of game balance, right, is how much the issues present. Like we could both acknowledge, oh, sniper has this issue, right? But we don't. But where we come to how it affects us, like personally, how much it matters. That's the subjective part where we don't.
Yeah, where do you draw the line in the nerf sand?
Yeah, that's the part where like
removal.
I think we could probably.
That's too far.
No, it's my line, bitch.
We take it. I think we should shut down the game. Thoughts?
Yeah, we had a good run. Shut her down.
Yeah, I think we should
pack it up, go home.
Yeah, someone download the game, play it single player. That's it. You can play by yourself against bots, and that's it. That's all you have.
Why, that's just the game right now.
That's so true. But I think I think that when hashtag kill TF2. I think that the order that we have the Discord icons in from left to right is probably the scale for how much sniper's issue bothers us actually.
That's very true.
So like with Zesty being on the far right.
Careful! You're playing into what people expect.
That's not what I meant.
Listen to me right here. We have a great wall of opinion. Snipers, the most overpowered class in this game. Very strong, too powerful. Needs a very heavy nerf against this man. This Australian's rather New Zealander is an oppressive presence in my game. Terrible presence. We got to get rid of him.
How can you do that on a whim?
I don't know, because I can.
Do you practice that in the mirror? Have you been waiting for this moment?
I've been waiting for the moment. No, it's on the fly.
That's amazing. No, but with Zesty being the person who is most personally affected by Sniper's apparent problem, and Fish being the least affected. But we would all agree that it's a problem, and we would all agree that there are fixes that could be put in place. We would just disagree on what those fixes are because it affects us personally differently. And it's not something we can really convince each other of, but I think we can all come to as long as we all come to the conclusion that it is a problem, coming to a conclusion about what fixes could be put in place is much easier, because any fix is a fix, or at least a potential. It's better than nothing is what I mean. And also we're not
at this stage.
We're also not at Valve, so we actually have no bearing on any of this.
True.
We're never gonna get a blue moon again. Just get that idea out of your head.
But like,
never gonna happen.
Can we just get a better update? Just something like blue moon is like a fucking piece of white bread. I'll take that at this stage. Not even no butter. It's a piece of white bread. Because what we've been getting is like a moldy shit since that point.
Hey,
blue moon was one piece of white bread, and everything else has been a single Ritz cracker.
Like a stale cracker.
It's like
it's been sitting out for a while.
It's like it's like the Jack and the Beanstalk cartoon with like Donald Duck and Mickey. This is like an old pull.
They're slicing the bread.
They're slicing. Thin. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. And they have like the bean in the little 2 slices of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I only know about that cartoon because of a lot of like Disney's darkest moments, because like Donald tries to kill a cow and they're like holding him back, and he's like enraged because he's like, I want him dead, I need food. It's like, man,
he's hungry, man.
He was. It's also wild because like that he's like a duck, but he's like an anthropomorphic duck, so it's different.
A duck's gotta eat.
And the cow's just like a normal cow. It's not an anthropomorphic cow.
I mean, Disney does that show all the time. You got Goofy and Pluto.
Yeah, you have like normal birds in Finding Nemo versus like the fucked up seagulls or whatever.
Yeah.
They're normal birds too.
Yeah, the pelicans.
No. I mean like birds that can't talk. Like they're just birds that
There's talking birds and not talking birds. That's like a weird dynamic I didn't realize.
Oh.
Yeah. I agree. We'll get an update when Half-Life Alyx releases.
Wait, is it release?
That's the joke.
Oh.
Oh. We're stuck in an eternal time loop. Okay. I think that we have reached a good jumping off point. I forget if there was anything else. Was there anything else? Did I miss something?
I think we've exhausted the sniper discussion.
I think we have.
I think so. Yes.
I think we've exhausted that. I just want to make sure there's nothing else before we go into super chats.
Or if there's any burning conversations you guys want to have.
And...
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know.
Oh man, Zesty, I love you.
I mean, I don't know. What could we talk about?
I have multiple questions. I just don't.
Oh, sure.
I just don't know if they're made for this stream. Fish, would you be? This is not a TF2 related question directly. Would you be interested in coming on? Would you be interested in coming on the show to do our normal format sometime?
Maybe I'd probably be okay with that.
Awesome. We're going to intentionally choose a video made by someone that you are friends with, and
oh my,
and then we're gonna make you say mean things about them because that's what we do on here.
I will say whatever I want to say about my friends.
That's a good point, actually.
Nice things, I'm sure.
I'm
probably,
yeah. No, that's not what we're doing. And also, because I asked a bunch of other people this, and I haven't asked you yet, if you could add a weapon to TF2, what would it be?
Oh man, I was just talking about this. I'm bad at this earlier. Okay.
No, I know, but you gotta come up with one.
Come on, you gotta have something.
You have to have something.
I have had one idea at like the back of my brain for a little while, and I sincerely doubt it's any good. It is a sniper primary. It's not a rifle. It's projectile based. That should make everybody happy.
Woo! I love the huntsman.
So
go on.
See, that made him happy.
Go on.
So it's a harpoon gun, and it doesn't have like a charge or scope, so it does like fixed damage. And on headshots, it will like it gives you like the manpower grapple effect onto the enemy, and as you are grappling, your melee has mini crits.
So
you can like
it's a combo weapon, is what you're saying.
It sucks
you combo
in and you can melee them.
Yeah.
That sounds
so like
really
like reverse fat guy from Overwatch.
Yes.
Reverse.
Like that.
I don't know the pig man. What's his
Roadhog.
That's his name. Thank you. I couldn't remember
Mr.
his name.
Ham.
Reverse fat guy sounds like a sex position.
There's a TF2 alias for you.
Yeah, reverse fat.
Typing that one in.
Reverse fat guy.
Reverse fat guy.
Reverse fat guy. Oh man. Parentheses.
That was the idea that I had.
That is.
I also had an idea for a Dragon's Breath shotgun for Pyro at one point, but then they added the Dragon Spear. It's just like, oh, that's basically just a better version of what I had.
Oh wow. How long have you had the harpoon gun then?
A while. I think after Manpower came out, like a couple years, I think.
Act on it quickly. Get the copyright, so if Val puts it in, you can charge him for it.
Yeah, I gotta make the model for it, put on the workshop.
Do it.
I think that that would be really cool, and also just to see what things people could do with that would be really, really cool.
Yeah, because like I wanted to give Sniper some kind of mobility option, but without making it so like he basically has mobility with a rifle, because that would be fucking cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works kind of like thematically.
I think that whatever damage it does though should be less than stock.
Oh yeah, I was thinking it does like 125 on headshot.
I think
so that way you can still kill other snipers, but otherwise you just like.
I think it should do 100, and because you're melee mini crits.
That's also possible. But it's like I don't want I don't want comboing to be the only option.
You stick someone from across the map, or you can get like sucked through geometry if they walk away.
Surely it doesn't have infinite range.
I wouldn't want it to have infinite range. I feel like if you got, I feel like certain geometry would like snap the line, right? You want to be at like a like a straight shot away from your enemy to really latch onto them. Again, this is completely hypothetical. It's not
I
real.
want it to be like that old coaching exploit where you phase through the map based on whoever you're coaching. Remember that shit from like 2016?
Oh wait, yeah.
I think so.
That did exist.
You know, yeah. If someone requested you to coach, then if you went back out of spectate, you would be able to play, and then you'd get sucked through map geometry as you continue to coach them.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, it was wild.
Coaching was a feature.
Yeah. We all got our professor specs from it.
Sorry, you guys talk. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm too uncreative to come up with a good weapon idea for TF2. At base value, all I can think of are a bunch of like stat swaps.
Do you want me just to read you the one that you said? Because I asked you this question months ago.
Huh?
I asked you this question like months ago.
You did?
Yeah.
Why can't I remember?
Well, this was because we hadn't like talked extensively.
I apologize. Do you remember what I suggested?
No, but I have your DM. Hold on.
Oh, God, I can't believe I don't remember. Jesus.
Let's see.
I did have another idea for like a boomerang for sniper, which everyone's come up with, but like my idea was that you'd sort of want to like it passes through enemies and you want to like hit them twice with it, kind of like the bison, except you can account for when it hits twice. And like when it hits them the second time around, then it does a mini crit and like maybe inflicts bleed. I wanted a sniper secondary that wasn't cancer and wasn't the SMG.
Wait, wasn't it about spy?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's fascinating. I didn't even remember that. It was a. I'll just read it. I said, if you in a hypothetical final update could add one weapon to TF2, what class would it be on and what would it be? And you said tricky, trying to come up with something that actively solves a problem with a class/situation, which is hard to do because as soon as you throw something new into the mix, it creates new problems elsewhere. Ideally, instead of adding a new weapon, I'd like to see current ones fixed or adjusted so they're either more fair or more viable. Like
this is your Miss America answer, damn.
Like making
the if you get me down to write something, I'll take my time and really lay something out. Live format on my brain, no work good, me bad.
Like this is absolutely wild because like this is directly relevant and also you didn't remember writing any of this.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, in an attempt to not answer with yet another boring stat swap weapon, I'd like to see something new for Spy that allows him to better fit his role and encourages players to do something interesting other than taking damage with the kunai by farming casual servers.
That was years ago? Damn, you were on the ball early.
No, months ago. Yeah, this was August 2nd.
Oh man.
I think an interesting idea is a new disguise kit that gives Spy a 20% damage resistant while disguised, but as a downside removes the current 20% damage resistance while cloaked. Maybe as an additional stat, faster cloak/decloak speed, but a slower disguise time. Might be making it too complicated. This way, Spy has a better chance of fooling players instead of dying the instant someone stubs his toe, which is what presently encourages the kunai Latrangered/DR stock meta. The DR/stock meta 200 AP. But yeah.
Yeah, the idea behind it is that so Spy can more readily tank a spy check and not immediately fucking die. So it's like someone shoots him, and then like if you just pretend not to react, then it's like, oh, he's actually on my team, and then you can kind of keep going on about your business of pretending to be on their team instead of just dying instantly.
That's how I try to react when I get spy checked. It's just like, yeah, whatever, I'm not even paying attention to you, and then they keep doing it anyway.
Yeah, that's why like it's not the best idea, but it's maybe some. But also it would help him tank when he starts taking damage the most, right? When people start spy checking you, you aren't cloaked, right? And then when you cloak, then you can still retain that. Actually, no, it would have to be turned off because if you cloak, you would still technically be disguised, and then you would retain the damage resistance of 20%. But then it would not stack with the watch, so maybe you have to lace in some other downside. I don't know, but yeah, I like the idea of Spy being able to tank a spy check and more readily fool players more so than he does now, because like most things if Spy gets spy checked, just kills him instantly, right? So something that facilitates its ability to fool players would be nicer.
Oh, apparently we have a 20% disguise resistance as a stat on our enforcer on the server.
Oh, there you go. Well, that at least incentivizes use of the enforcer.
Yeah.
Hey. That's something.
So, well, something has to.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like this also goes back to what we were talking about earlier of like figuring out some cool tool to give the spy that fits into his role, but at the same time wouldn't be a hindrance to expected normal play. It's
Like,
hard to figure.
enough
It's hard to figure it out.
It's hard to figure out with the weapons he already has. Like, some of them are still just crap. Like fucking Enforcer, YAR, Red Tape Recorder.
I like the old Enforcer when it was just a damage, a stat swap of higher damage, slow firing speed. I think that was fine. I don't care about the high crit amount and the high crit damage. I think that was great, but whatever.
That's
I mean, at that point,
it still lives in my heart.
Yeah.
At that point, it was kind of just a straight upgrade. But it's like you could make debates on whether or not like Spy's revolver damage should even be buffed in the first place.
Yeah, I think the revolver's fine, honestly.
I think it's fine too, but it's like you could make an argument that it could be bumped up a little bit, maybe in terms of its power. We bumped up its accuracy, so it's a bit more like the Ambassador.
I think a lot of people forget that his accuracy resets between shots. So even if you slightly delay your shots, it makes your firing more accurate.
Oh yeah, like I always delay my shots. I always make sure to do that, but it's like it's just for a little bit more consistency.
Yeah, I understand that. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't mind seeing that change.
Hmm.
I think we can neatly segue into super chats. Close out the stream.
Yeah.
Sounds good. A reminder: if you would like to ask any questions, super chats are open. We only have one right now. Well, we have two, but one of them is a no message. Regular reviews said, do I want to say this?
Yeah.
Do I have
Do
to?
it.
I don't know how you're supposed to.
Hello, Zesty. Etesme. Wonky. Oh, I don't know how to say that. Oh, what are words?
I don't know if it's even English.
I don't know what it says.
I don't even know what you're reading.
It was way back.
A wootwuntude to the that you are a very good YouTuber. Please say hello to my brother.
That's wonky. That's just his way of speaking.
Is it? If yeah.
Just accept it. That's just how he does things.
That's fair.
Just accept it.
Chat, I'm not showing it on screen. I don't know how to. No, I don't know how to like go about. I don't even know how to go about doing that. But yeah, that is not really a question. And of course, Ruben super chatted $1, so thank you to Ruben, and I appreciate both you guys for doing that. I think on that note, we can probably close the podcast. This is the shortest we've done, mostly because we did not have a video to talk about today. But I think it was a good discussion. I think it was a good episode.
Yeah.
Fun.
Absolutely. I hope everyone had a good time. We haven't killed each other. That's a good start.
Yeah, we're all still alive.
No, it's amazing when you speak with someone via voice and not text, and text making it seem as though you want their fucking head on a pike. You know?
Yeah.
I'm glad that TF2 EFAP has done it again. Man, when you said that, when you said that, and then I got multiple comments after the second episode that were like, it's literally EFAP, and I was like, yes.
Yes.
I'm a massive EFAP fan. I've been watching EFAP for years, so this was very intentionally modeled after their format, because their format's great and more people should use it. As Uncle Dane said, I think
it's better than the fucking Hassan format where you just sit around drooling like a toddler.
Yes.
Don't
my
get
gosh.
him
Yes.
started. No.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. You have no idea. I could rant about Hassan for hours. This is not the stream. Oh man. Yeah. Anyways, I really appreciate you coming on, Fish, and of course,
Sure, no
Zesty.
problem.
Yes.
I might as well go ahead and announce next stream. We're probably going to I know we're gonna have Indy, different YouTuber. We're gonna have Indy on the podcast next week, as well as hopefully the other members of Swishcast. I'm trying to get all of them on. And we're gonna cover. I'm not sure what we're covering, but I'm throwing around different ideas. I kind of want to go over and discuss Uncle Dane's random crit video. That's my current plan.
Ooh, playing with fire, that one.
Well, it's a classic, and I think it's a. I haven't seen it in a while, and I remember enjoying it, so I thought it would be a good pick. But yeah, I think we can close out the stream. Thank you all for hanging out, everyone in chat. There were 200 of you at one point, so that's awesome. I will see you guys all next time. Bye bye.